All right, welcome, one and all to the latest episode of the Xbox 2 podcast, episode 390. We're getting ever so closer to that episode 400. 10 more episodes, so hopefully, what is that, 2 months ish, a little bit over 2 months. I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Jez Cordon. I'm Randall Thor 19. If you didn't know, hey Jez, what's going on?
Hey man. I had the last couple of days off, so I'm
Have you?
feeling pretty. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good.
Holiday time break? Holiday time off?
Oh no,
No?
not yet.
Not
I've
yet?
still got uh, a couple of weeks to go, and then I get a week off
Okay.
for Christmas and New Year's, so that'll be nice. Yeah. So yeah, all good, man. All good. I've been gaming hardcore
You've
this
been
week,
gaming,
bro.
laying in your bed with your nacho cheese fingers all over your raw ally?
No, because I eat like there's no. I eat the driest tortilla chips.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just there's nothing on them. I don't use salsa or dip. No seasoning for me. Like like you.
So you're just sitting there. You're just sitting there in bed,
Yeah.
propped up with a bowl of chips on your left and your raw ally being held in one hand as you game and eat at the same time. Essentially, is what you're saying.
Well, I'm trying to diet, so I haven't really had any nachos recently. But I digress. Rand. How are you doing? I mean, do you remember long ago when you triggered the entire podcast by explaining to people how you don't like seasoning on your food?
I don't think I did.
You did.
Well,
You definitely did.
okay. Well, there's a difference between saying I don't put seasoning on my food because I don't like it, and just I don't put seasoning on my food just because I've never have done it. I put plenty of seasoning on my food now.
Oh.
I'm a changed man. You know, I get chicken when I make chicken. You get like lemon pepper and all this other good stuff. Like, yeah. So
Pepper. Damn. Like,
I just
what?
the thing
You've
is,
been withholding this information from us.
I'm not. I don't like spicy stuff, like spicy spicy additives, or like when we get like chicken wings or whatever. I usually will get like either it's like honey barbecue sauce, which is fine, but I know people like that get like the really spicy stuff. The spice just doesn't it doesn't react well with me, so I try to get stuff that's non-spicy.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, I've been using a lot of seasoning on my cooking as of late.
I can't believe we've. Feels like you've grown as a person, Rand.
Yeah, and does it matter though? Does it really matter if I have my chicken and it's just raw? Well, not raw because it's obviously cooked,
Raw.
but not raw. But like I don't put any. Is it wrong if I don't put like salt and pepper? I don't actually use salt. I don't really use salt on anything, and I will put pepper on it a little bit, but.
We can't call you Blandal Thor anymore.
No, nope, nobody can.
The XB2 people. We can't call you Blandal Thor anymore. Damn.
Yeah, well, I was experimenting because I was cooking the chicken, and I'm like, let's see if some of this stuff is actually any good. And I remember, I think I got a jar of lemon pepper, and I started using it on the chicken, and I'm like, this is actually really good. And then I started to kind of get more different types, but like the super spicy ones, I don't like. So I tend to stay away from them. But yeah, I'm bland no longer, bro.
No longer bland.
Yeah.
Didac Bruh says you're Randall chef.
I wouldn't go that much. I mean, I don't really cook a lot of different things. It's mostly just chicken, broccoli, or chicken and cauliflower or whatever. You
really like cauliflower.
I like chicken and broccoli are great. And chicken and cauliflower are great, but mostly I just eat chicken. So it's chicken every single night. I get a chicken breast and I air fry it up with some vegetables, and that's what I eat.
The Game Adaption newscast says Rand puts lemon pepper on his Cheerios.
It's been a long time since I've had some Cheerios. Cheerios. It's weird. When you think about your childhood and you think about like the great cereals that you loved as a kid. you don't necessarily think of Cheerios, because Cheerios is kind of just, for lack of a better word, it's plain, right? Because I remember, you have Lucky Charms, which has the marshmallows. You got Cocoa Krispies, which, turn the milk into a nice chocolatey mix. You have like all these different things and all these different flavors, and Cheerios is always just kind of the plain one.
Well,
but I always did like Cheerios though, because you're not always in the mood for something super sugary, which is usually what like children's or like the breakfast cereal is. So there would be some times it'd be like, you know what, I'd rather have Cheerios. Cheerios is a good cereal. I did like it. I do like it.
We're going vastly off topic now, but
what does it matter? We already podcasted once this week on Monday. There ain't that much to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, so we're gonna just.
There is going to be some off topic this week, but I need to tell you something about Britain, which you may or may not be aware of.
That's garbage.
Well, everyone knows that, but here's another reason it's garbage. There are really strict laws about how you can market cereal to children.
I'm sure that
so
there
all those,
should be.
So all those famous American sugary cereals that have got like sweets in them and tons of sugar and all that stuff, we don't get them. So for me, Cheerios is the nostalgic childhood cereal, or Weetabix, and maybe for a treat you can put some sugar on it or some strawberries or something. I don't know. But
what about Kix? Kix?
No.
Kix.
I've never even heard of that. I think the most we get is like Cocoa Pops.
Cocoa Puffs? Cocoa Krispies?
Yeah, they make the milk go chocolatey, I guess.
Yeah. Cocoa
That's
Puffs.
one we do get.
Staple.
What else do we get? Frosties. I think you call them Frosted Flakes. We get Frosties.
Frosted Flakes, yeah.
Yeah.
Although the thing with Frosted Flakes is you kind of have to eat it fast, because the longer you take, the soggy. They get soggy,
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So you gotta eat it quick. It's like you gotta spoonful them really fast. a lot of great breakfast cereals out there, man. Now I'm like overdosing on childhood memories of all these different. Like, right, you ever have like the Rice Krispies treats cereal? Where there's like a clump of like the Rice Krispie stuff, or God, there's so much stuff.
we had Rice Krispies. I really like Rice Krispies. Everyone in chat's coming up with all the cereals now.
Yeah.
You got Mini Wheats.
Beanbag.
You a Weetabix guy? Yeah, I was. I'm a huge Weetabix guy. I love me some Weetabix.
But that was, I think I might have mentioned this story before. So like, when I was growing up, your parents would go out for date nights or whatever, and we would have babysitters, which would usually be one of our older cousins. Because we have a lot of cousins. I think my dad was like second youngest out of like 9 siblings, and all of them have kids and stuff. So like they would come watch us, and I remember what
9 siblings did you say?
Yeah, like I have like 8 aunt and uncles on my dad's side.
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah, but so like we'd have a lot of the cousins would come babysit, and they would love coming to babysit because my dad would pay pretty well, but also because I remember asking them later on, it's because we kept our pantry stocked full. Like they'd be like, you guys had so much food and so many different cereals that we'd love coming because they just would eat. Because seriously, we'd open up the pantry and there would be like 7 different cereals, right?
Oh my God.
And for them, maybe they wouldn't have that at their own place. So there was like, when they would come, I'd definitely like pick one of the cereals and eat it or whatever. But yeah.
Well, dude, like, I just like the first times I visited America, it was a bit like being in Santa's workshop or something. Like going into a supermarket in America or a grocery store.
Okay.
Like just how much cereal there is and how many like different variants of Oreos and just how much children's cereal there are with cartoon characters on and stuff like that. It's like something like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory or something. America's crazy with food, man. It's like nowhere else on earth. Nowhere else is like America when it comes to food.
Yep,
I went to a food court in LA with those sort of street food taco trucks and stuff like that. The one that was on Netflix. Absolutely amazing. Mexican food. I do love American food, man, even though I know every time I eat some of it, I'm taking years off my life. But hey. This is an Xbox podcast.
Yep. Maybe that. You know what? Since Xbox what? They released the Xbox Crocs, and they're actually sponsoring a college football bowl. So there's like the Xbox Bowl or whatever. I mean, it's only a short hop and a skip to making an Xbox breakfast cereal.
There's been Xbox breakfast cereal,
hasn't
there
been? Okay, I mean, I guess why not?
They've done partnerships, I suppose, with cereal, but they've also done. I'm sure there's actually just a full blown Minecraft breakfast cereal in America. I'm sure I'm not imagining that. Maybe I dreamt it.
Maybe I don't know, but I'm just saying, if we can have Xbox shoes, Xbox fridges, Xbox American Girl doll accessories, all these sort of things, can we not get an Xbox cereal?
I guess we can, bro.
Is that too much to ask for? I suppose. You know, like have it like Lucky Charms, where you have a bunch of different like marshmallow things. Like you could have each one of the consoles as a marshmallow as part of the thing, and maybe you could even have it. You know, like Lucky Charms has the regular grain side, but it's like you could have the regular grain spell words like XBOX. Or even like ONE and stuff, so you could like spell out the different names of the consoles within the actual lettering of the cereal.
Oh man, you know it's funny because Microsoft sent me the Xbox Crocs.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So then you wrote a 10 out of 10 review and said it's the greatest shoes you've ever worn.
They're the best shoes ever.
I think not.
Yeah, coincidence. I didn't even write about them. I just tweeted a picture of them. Hey, thanks, Microsoft. But I felt like it was poignant because it was actually my idea, the X Crocs.
Yeah. You said this last week.
But one thing I'm gonna just mention here before we start doing the actual podcast and doing some housekeeping, I'm gonna give away the X Crocs controller.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys saw, but the influencers who got the Xbox Crocs, they also got an Xbox Crocs controller, and it's green with the Crocs logo, and it also has, which is ridiculous, a controller-shaped Croc around it.
Okay.
So it's probably an extremely rare controller. I'm going to give that away on the Xbox 2 Discord.
You could probably sell it for some good cash.
Yeah, but I wouldn't sell something I was given for free. So we're going to pass it on to the Xbox 2 community. Mm-hmm. So if you want to win that, come to our Discord, discord.gg/XB2. And the giveaway, I'll put that up this week. And then you can win an X Crocs controller for Christmas.
Wow.
How about that?
That sounds like a good Christmas present. Also a very rare controller, too. So not many people have them.
No, they don't. So we'll do a giveaway for the community.
Are we done reminiscing about cereals?
I think we are, bro.
Yeah,
I think we are.
I think so.
Did you get shredded wheat?
No. I wasn't a really big shredded wheat person.
I really like shredded wheat.
Yeah, I wasn't really. Sorry to disappoint you.
Yes. With Rand and Jez. We should have an Xbox 2 cereal.
Should we? Well, I mean, Xbox gotta have a cereal first.
No, we can both have cereal. Or we can be a candy in the Xbox cereal.
We could.
A really small one.
We could. But anyways, let's do some housekeeping. Get some of this stuff out of the way so we can talk about whatever it is we want to talk about this week. Do us a big favor. Thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And Jez, this episode, as usual, as of late, has been brought to you by Surfshark VPN. Yeah,
that is correct. Surfshark VPN. Sound effects. Lightning.
Thunder. Big sharks jumping out of the water.
Freak shark jumping out of the water and protecting your internet.
Yes.
Because heads up, internet adventurers, Black Friday and Cyber Monday, we're coming. Oh God, hang on, my phone's going.
Oh, a phone call in the middle of the ad read?
Yep, phone call in the middle of the ad read.
Wow.
It's my girlfriend.
You sure? Sure. Not Phil.
No, it's definitely not Phil. Yeah, sorry about that. Let's start again. Oh, actually, we need a new ad read because this one's out of date. Because it's no longer Black Friday anymore. So let's go to the previous ad read. Did you hear my ringtone?
I did. I don't know what it was, though, but I did hear it.
Did you recognize it at all? Sound familiar?
No. What was it?
The Cyberpunk ringtone.
Ring it again?
Okay.
What do you mean? I want to hear it now. Let me hear it.
That's Cyberpunk ringtone. Hang on a sec. Ah, man. How do I even try? I don't even know how to get it up by myself. Someone would have to phone me. Ringtone, ringtones, ringtone, Cyberpunk ringtone. There you go. Oh, mate, the Discord's filtering it out. Can you hear it?
Hardly. I can hardly hear it.
Okay, so it's really loud on mine. That's the annoying thing with Discord. The AI filtering is so good you can't hear it. Well, it's the Cyberpunk ringtone.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Brilliant. Let's talk about
so back to sharks and protecting your internet privacy.
Yes, and if you were living in Night City, you would definitely need Surfshark VPN. So
you need more than Surfshark VPN, but yes.
Yeah. What are they called? Oh, what are they called now? The internet police in Cyberpunk.
The medical teams or whatever?
No. I can't remember what they're called now. The dudes in the suits. Never mind. Looking for a smarter way to stay safe online? Surfshark VPN is your all-in-one shield for private, effortless browsing. Whether you're surfing your favorite series, climbing the ranks in your go-to games, or just scrolling the latest trends, Surfshark keeps you covered with lightning-fast speeds and support for unlimited devices. Want true internet freedom? Surfshark breaks down digital walls with ease. No more geoblocks, no more limits. Unlock global content, explore without borders, and enjoy a smoother, cleaner web thanks to Surfshark's Clean Web feature, which blocks ads, trackers, and malware before they can slow you down. And with a strict no logs policy, your activity stays exactly where it belongs, with you. Surfshark's advanced encryption wraps your personal data in serious protection, giving you total confidence every time you connect. Here's the offer. Xbox 2 podcast listeners get an incredible 86% off a 2-year Surfshark plan. Take back your online freedom. Hit the link in the description. Get started. Search safely. Surf securely and surf with Surfshark. So, yeah, Surfshark VPN is absolutely awesome. They support us and they support you by keeping your internet safe. If you want to access content from other storefronts, such as, HBO Max, which isn't available in the UK, you can always use a VPN while you wait for Netflix to buy them. And, access the content early and stuff, and I guess. But yeah, Surfshark's awesome. They support us really, really well. And if you check them out, it supports the show and you get a really great deal out of it. So yeah.
Indeed, you do. Indeed. But we also have the wonderful members of our Patreon who support us. And the thread for questions and answers is up. We will get to those at the end of the show, as we always do. But we got some shout-outs here for the Xbox 2 MVPs. We got Adam Bartolo, Army Dude 52C, Asa T, and Madison, Battered Haddock, Briggs Country, Bright Trunger 1, Silas, Discarded Caboose, Fantasticals, Foreign Object, Glenn, Governor Grimm, iMike Zero, Inner Machine, James Moore, James Wiseau, Justin Duel, K-Trox, Laserwolf, Pat Rock, RS Donks, Scarcely Relevant, Sean Kramer, Shay Elephant, Shrapnel, Trixar for Trey, Wagerman, and Wolfgang KPZ. Thank you guys so much for your continued support of myself and Jez.
Shay Elephant's a newcomer. Shout out to Shay.
Yeah, shout out to Shay for joining the Patreon. So, Jez, what do you want to talk about this week? They pull little Cody Rhodes and he's, so what do you want to talk about?
I was going to say,
what do you want to talk about?
You always say, "What do you want to talk about?" You've been saying that for years.
I know.
Did Cody steal your
I
bit?
think he might have sold it for me. I always say,
I think
"What do
he
you
did.
want to talk about?" And then I'm the one who picks the topic because you never want to talk about anything unless I bring it up.
Well, I
mean-
want to talk. Well, I want to talk about Netflix then. If you want to pick,
You
if
want
you
to
want me to
go?
pick,
You want to go right into Netflix? Right?
Yeah,
I
let's
mean,
do it.
yeah. I mean, I don't think this
Stepping
week's
in-
show is going to be very long because we already did a show this week. But yeah, let's hop right into the big news, the zeitgeist of the moment.
a zeitgeist.
Everybody seems to have an opinion, either one way or the other. But it is definitely yes. So Warner Brothers and David Zaslav, and like when Discovery bought Warner Brothers, or I forget, I think Discovery bought Warner, whatever. Either way, Warner Brothers was looking to sell, and there was like 3 companies in the running to buy Warner Brothers. I think 2 of them just wanted the streaming services and like the movie studios, while like one of them wanted the entire company. And the ones that were up in the running were Netflix, Comcast/Universal, and Paramount. Well, as of yesterday or this morning, basically Netflix won the bid. They've entered into exclusive negotiations with Warner Brothers, and I think it was something like the deal's like for $83 billion with a $5 billion like penalty if the deal doesn't go through. Similar to I think what was ABK's? It was like $3 billion or something. If the ABK acquisition doesn't go through, then ABK got $3 billion from Microsoft. I think it's like $5 billion that Warner Brothers would get if this deal doesn't go through. So $83 billion, and they're only buying the studios and the subscription aspect, or the sub aspect, streaming aspect of the Warner Brothers stuff. And man, that's all anybody's really talking about on social media. Everybody has an opinion about will this lead to the death of cinema? Will this hasten the end of physical media, 4K Blu-rays? Is Netflix gonna destroy the great legacy of the Warner Brothers studios and all that sort of stuff? So yeah, Jez, what did you think when you saw it? Because we've talked about this a couple times in the past couple weeks, because there's been rumors about, hey, these companies are in the running. What do we think? And I always said I thought Netflix was probably going to be the leading candidate, which they ended up being. But how do you and Netflix also gets WB Games, so tied into the whole game aspect, like they're actually getting like NetherRealm and some of those other studios that WB owns and stuff. So Netflix would own them, although I don't think they wouldn't own the IPs themselves. Like they wouldn't own Batman, even though they would own like the studio Rocksteady.
Wait, they don't. Warner Brothers doesn't own Batman?
No, I think the entire company. See, Netflix isn't buying the entire company. Netflix is only buying. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. Maybe chat knows, but I don't think by buying all this stuff, I don't think Netflix would own like the DC comic properties. I could be wrong. Maybe they do. Maybe they would basically own it all. But I'm not exactly 100% sure how that works. But they would own the movie studios. They would own the streaming platform, and they would own like the gaming platform, like the gaming studios and stuff. But I'm not exactly sure about like where the IPs, the ownership of all that stuff.
Everyone in chat saying they own everything.
All right, well then I guess they would own the IPs, because I did see a report saying that they still would have to license them out, but I don't know.
I think like there is like with some of the DC comics, like even I think there is this weird patchwork of who owns what to some degree.
Sure.
So maybe
because people are pointing to like, oh well, Netflix is about to get like the Harry Potters and the Game of Thrones stuff and all the DC stuff, but I wasn't too sure about who actually would own all the IPs, and maybe Netflix does, and maybe that's why part of it is like the $82 billion, which is a massive amount of money. So, what do you think about this? Because I have a feeling you have a outlier opinion on this one.
Well, I'm kind of tired of the zeitgeist round, because I kind of feel like I'm always a contrarian lately.
I mean,
Wh- whether
you
it's-
you
whether it's
are you are a contrarian.
whether it's liking Xbox, which is not the popular
It's
opinion,
definitely not.
or liking Windows Phone,
Which
uh,
nobody liked.
and I like loads of games everyone seems to hate, like
Yeah.
Overwatch, Diablo. Like if you say like, oh, you like Diablo online, you just get instantly trolled, even though there's like millions of people playing it. Like, where are the actual fans of this shit? You go to the subreddit and it's just people angry about the game.
It's funny because in the lead up to the launch of Diablo 4, people were excited. They're like, yeah, new Diablo. Because, there's a long time in between Diablo releases. Everybody was looking forward to Diablo. But then once Diablo came out and some time passed, people were like, screw Diablo. And now everybody's like, Diablo. I mean, maybe that has to do with like, Path of Exile 2 is also out, so it does have some competition in this similar space. But I do recall how excited people were for Diablo 4. But if you mention Diablo now, it's like, ew, disgusting. Get away from me. Call HR. Ew. Like nobody cares anymore about it.
But I mean, there's like this weird. And this is a whole other topic, but there is like the zeitgeist is really. I find the zeitgeist to be really not only exhausting, but also just not representative of the facts. Like there's millions of people playing Diablo and Overwatch and these games that everyone seems to hate, and that it's really unpopular to admit that you like these games on social media. But anyways, the reason I brought up the zeitgeist was because I don't think my opinion on the Warner Brothers acquisition is going to be a popular one.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I'm for it. I'm all for it, man.
Jez doesn't like it. He loves it.
I'm for it, Maro. I'm for it. Bring it on. And I'll tell you why. I feel like I got some good reasons for this.
Okay.
I got some good reasons for this.
All right.
HBO Max is not available in the UK. So, you have to use a VPN such as Surfshark.
Yes, which is one of the reasons why it's great. Use Surfshark to get it.
Yeah. Which you should definitely click on the link in the description.
86% off 2-year deal. Linked in the description and all that good stuff in the comments.
Yeah, and all that good stuff. Yep. And you should also pin the message I sent around. But but there's a few other factors in my opinion on this. I know monopoly bad, yes. And also, Netflix is the biggest player in the space. So it's a bit different to ABK, I feel. Because ABK was kind of like, this can help Xbox compete with the bigger player, PlayStation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, this is like, this can help Netflix compete with who? They're the biggest. So it's not really balanced, you could say. It's not balanced at all. So I think that is bad. So I'm not suggesting monopolies are a good thing. However, just speaking personally and selfishly, emphasis on selfishly, I want all the content in one service. Because one thing everyone complains about these days, Rand, is like, oh, there's too many streaming services. Let's go back to piracy. Like I hear that all the time, right? And that's a whole thing. I've literally seen the zeitgeist, quote unquote, discuss how streaming's become so fragmented. So the HBO Max stuff is supposed to be, I think it's on Paramount Plus in the UK or Sky or something like that. It's on some random service no one uses anyway. So as someone who doesn't want to subscribe to a million different services, it would be nice if all the Warner Brothers stuff was on Netflix. That's one reason. Second reason is I'm not a huge fan of anything that's Warner Brothers related anyway. So I kind of feel like Warner Brothers has handled a lot of their properties really poorly recently. And while I'm hardly someone who thinks Netflix is amazing and they would do a great job, but maybe they'd shake things up. It can't really get any worse. Although, having said that, I did quite like the Robert Pattinson Batman movie, but I'm not sure if the James Gunn stuff is going to be amazing. But then again, at the same time, it's like another reboot. That's probably not the play. I don't know, man. It basically boils down to, oh, cool, this will all be on one service, So, um,
I see the reports are coming in right now that Paramount is looking to launch a hostile bid for Warner Brothers because it feels that its $30 share all cash offer is actually higher than what Netflix offered. So Paramount's not going to take this sitting laying down, bro. So,
well, I mean, there are other sort of talking points with regards to this. First and foremost, I don't think regulators, for even a second, would approve this deal. You seriously going to let Netflix get even bigger and more powerful? I can't see it at all. I don't think that happens. And also, like you said, it does sound like there are people willing to bid even higher.
supposedly.
So
So here's what I think. Like,
tell us like why.
I would much rather have Warner Brothers stay independent, right? Because we look at how a lot of this stuff goes, and it's like, is it something you really want? Like, as somebody who doesn't go to the movies and doesn't care about the theatrical experience, so when people bring that up, they're like, Netflix is just going to put all their movies straight on streaming of their subservice. They're not going to really put stuff in the movie theaters. Like, I know there's the whole stuff with like the Daniel Craig, Rian Johnson, Knives Out new movie that's coming out, and it's barely in theaters, and it's only in theaters for a couple weeks, and then it comes to Netflix on December 12th, which I can't wait to watch. And people are like, I don't know why you're doing this. Or like the whole stuff with K-pop Demon Hunters and how big that became, and now they only put it in theaters. I think it was around Halloween, and all like, so there's the people who love the theatrical experience and going to movies, and right now, like, the theatrical stuff is hurting. Like, you can definitely compare how much money like movies are making now to what they did before the pandemic and all that stuff, and people have abandoned the theatrical stuff. And if you have Warner Brothers, one of these big movie studios that put out like 10 movies a year, varying different qualities and also varying different styles of movies, and like, they got the big summer blockbusters and the small dramas. But I know Netflix has said, hey, we're still gonna put them, in theaters, maybe for a shorter window or whatever. But you know exactly what Netflix wants. They don't want people to go to the theaters. They want people to subscribe to their service. So it's like, while they might have to do that, because I did see a report that said like they got contracts up to 2029, so they still would have to put movies up in the theaters. But I understand people who love going to the theaters every week to see a movie would react negatively to this, because it does kind of hasten the end of, or at least coming to the end of the theatrical stuff, because you lose another like studio like Warner Brothers, who now is going to put all their stuff on streaming. It's like, yeah, that's like another really big quote unquote death blow to the theatrical thing. But personally, I don't care about the theatrical model. I haven't been to the movie since 2019, so losing out on that doesn't really matter to me whatsoever, because I don't go to the theater, because it's like I have a really good TV and all this. It's just, the movies are expensive to go to anyway, so it's like, plus I can wait. It's like most movies come to digital for rental or whatever, and it's like you only really have to wait a month or two. It's like, I can wait. I don't need to go see anything super. Like, I need to be there day one. You know what I mean? None of that really exists anymore. But I understand people's that love the theatrical thing being like, I don't want this to happen. Then there's the whole like, expensive. What?
Movie theater's too expensive, man.
Well, yeah, it definitely is. And then there's the whole physical aspect. People be like, oh, my 4K Blu-rays and stuff. And Netflix doesn't release a lot of those things. And once again, I don't own any physical anything. I don't own any physical games. I don't own any physical media, period. So that doesn't really bother me whatsoever. I wouldn't necessarily want it to go away, because I really do think it's going to go away on its own. Just how like games just naturally went from physical to overwhelmingly digital. And it's not even like the publishers or whatever really did anything to hasten that. Is like, once they offered the choice, where digital was day one and you could preload, people just started to choose physical on their own. They didn't have to move it. Now, sure, Xbox is like 95% digital, whatever, and there is Game Pass to consider of like, you know, like these digital rentals on the service, and how much has that hastened the digital ecosystem of Xbox further and further. But given the options side by side, it definitely seems that more and more people were choosing digital anyways, and less were choosing physical. And I think the same thing was happening with the movies, because a lot of people were just watching stuff on streaming, and it was, I mean, remember I told you before, I had a large physical DVD collection before Blu-ray came out. I would go to Best Buy. This would be like in 2004, 2003, 2006, or whatever. I would go to the movies every single weekend. Even if I had nobody to go with, I go by myself, and I would get the DVDs that would come out. I had a very large DVD collection, and then Blu-ray happened, and it was like my DVD collection is useless, because now like the DVDs look like shit in comparison to the Blu-rays. So like my entire collection, I felt overnight became, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, invalidated or obsolete, and it just turned me off. It just turned me off of physical media ownership right then and there, because it was like, well, if I want any of these movies, I'd have to buy these again in Blu-ray. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I already bought it once in the DVD format, and now it's like, here's a better format, but it's like, I own all this stuff. Like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not building up another collection. And I honestly couldn't tell you the last time I put a DVD or Blu-ray. It's been probably 20 years since I've watched like a physical disc media. Like, yeah, I have, like, you know, the Xbox One had the Blu-ray drive, never used it.
Yeah.
The Series X and S has this Blu-ray drive, never used it. Same thing with the PlayStations, never used it. So on those things of like, I don't go to the movie theater, so I don't care about the theatrical experience, and I don't care about the physical stuff. You would think I'm for Netflix buying Warner Brothers, because there is the same thing of, well, it would be great to have all that content in one place, right? Then I wouldn't have to subscribe to HBO Max and Netflix. If all the HBO Max content just went to Netflix, you know, you could just cancel the HBO Max, or they probably would shut it down, and everything's there on Netflix. Of course, there's the drawbacks, because, you know, with an $83 billion acquisition, who's really going to pay for it at the end of the day? The consumers, right?
Shareholders?
Well, the shareholders are going to get their money.
No, they're going to buy it, and they're going to they're going to make it great for customers, right?
Yeah, sure. They're definitely going to make it great. They're going to make it great. But I mean, Netflix already has a $25 subscription for their highest tier, and I could easily see that going up to 30, 35 soon after the deal goes through, because, you know, $83 billion is like, they're gonna be like, we need, and you know, they probably would feel like they're justified by raising the price, because it's like, hey, we're about to add all these DC movies, all these Warner Brother movies, maybe like within 2 weeks of it coming on in theatrical, we're gonna add all these shows. We got all the Harry Potter movies and the new Harry Potter show, and like all the, you know, White Lotus and all these great HBO shows on there, Game of Thrones and Sopranos. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they could argue to themselves that, hey, we're actually offering you pretty good. Look at what you're getting, right? But
I mean, that sounds like another subscription service I've heard of.
Yeah, the thing is, though, you do look at Netflix, and they're so far and above and beyond the leader in the space of streaming that it does sort of give off anti-competitive vibes, where HBO Max is a direct competitor to Netflix, and they're swallowing them up. So Netflix is already far and away the de facto standard and leader, and now they're essentially absorbing. I don't even know where HBO Max would place. Maybe third, fourth, because I think Disney Plus is bigger. You know, so you look at it like, you look at it like, man, should Netflix be able to buy them? Because, you know, when we talked about the ABK thing, and obviously like hindsight's 2020 and all that, but there was always the thing of Xbox was not in a position of dominance any way, shape, or form, right? It was PlayStation was the market leader by a significant margin, and even Nintendo was, you know, selling more than Xbox was, even though if Xbox was making more money. So there was really no like, hey, this is anti-competitive. The only thing the regulators could come up with was cloud gaming, which I don't even really think they understood at the time. But
no, they definitely didn't.
But even a lot of the regulators were like, hey, you know, there's nothing against competition here. Where I do think this one might ring some bells. I fully expect the Department of Justice to try to block this deal whenever it does go up. I really do think they will.
This current administration?
Yeah, because I think this current administration wants Paramount to get it. Absolutely. And, you know, with this current administration, there's a lot of political, you know, like handshakes behind the scenes and stuff. So, yeah, I really do think the Department of Justice will try to block this deal. I mean, because Paramount's is out there telling people like how it should be blocked, and you could make the argument that Paramount probably, I would rather Paramount not get it. I would rather Warner Brothers stay, you know, not sell. And so if I was looking at it from like, well, if they're selling, so who would I want out of these ones to get it? I guess Comcast Universal would have been my choice. With Netflix, well, the Comcast Universal, you know, they would still stick to the theatrical releases, and they would.
Oh, they own Universal.
What?
They own Universal Studios.
They own Universal. They would, you know, there'd be some theme park stuff you could do with, you know, all the things there and whatever else they would. But Paramount was the one I wanted the least, and Netflix was kind of like, okay. But it does seem like a little bit too much. I mean, you look at like the content you could all see on Netflix, and it's like, that's a lot. But, you know, I'm just a guy on. This is just my opinion on it. I'm not sure it should go through based on how big Netflix is, but it does seem like people in the film industry do not want this to happen. I've seen like directors, right, the WGA, like they are coming out strongly against this because they fear this is like, if this were to happen, this is basically signaling the end of cinema, which is a weird thing to say considering it's like, oh, Netflix movies are garbage and they're just considered content. It's not a true art form, but I've seen plenty of movies that were released in theaters that were trash. You know, I always find the idea of like where
Netflix isn't true cinema. Some of the Netflix movies are amazing.
But most of Netflix movies are garbage, and they do feel like just content that they made specifically to reach demographics at a certain point in time. And then you could even make the argument that with how Netflix is and how big they are, that they're the leading cause of why a lot of TV shows take forever to come out now and are less episodes. Like we used to get TV shows that came out every single year that were 20 episodes. Now we're lucky to get a show that comes out every 2 years that is 8 episodes. I mean, look at the latest season of Stranger Things. 3 years? It's been 3 years, and there's going to be 8 episodes. You know, and some of that is like, yeah, they wanted to like look as good as film. So there's a lot. So like the film and the TV stuff has kind of been more aligned, so it takes longer to film and longer to like align people's schedules, and there's more, you know, CGI and stunt work and all these sort of things that, you know, increase how long it takes to make stuff. But you could make the argument that once Netflix became more dominant, it was like these are the negative impacts it's had on you know, content creation and like TV shows, movies, and stuff. And, you know, people hate the binge. Like, there are plenty of people out there, like, the binge ruined TV shows or whatever. And I'm a big proponent of the binge. I love binging content because I don't like waiting week to week or whatever. I'm currently watching Welcome to Derry because it's almost getting ready to end. And I love, like, 2 episodes tonight, 2 episodes tomorrow, 2 episodes the next day. bada bing, bada boom. And it's like, I watched the whole thing. I just finished The Chair Company on HBO Max. 8 episodes. Waited until it was finished. Watched all eight episodes in like 3 days. Absurd, ridiculous show with Tim Robinson on HBO Max. Like, crazy show that is just like on the... I don't even know how else to describe it, but it is the most ridiculous, absurd show I think I've ever seen. But it was great because I could just watch it all at once. I didn't have to wait week to week. I really don't like waiting week to week. But yeah, this I don't know. I think Netflix said that they expect this deal to be completed in Q3 2026. Now I don't know if that means like their Q3 because I don't know their reporting thing. So they're definitely thinking next year sometime. But I think it's going to be.
Crack.
What?
I think they're smoking crack if they think they're going to have it done by then.
I mean, how long did Xbox think the ABK thing would take?
I can't remember.
I think it was a year. It was like January of 2022, and they said it was going to close sometime in the next year, which it did take a long time. So I don't know. I don't know how this is really going to play out. I can see I can see the people who really are against it, and I understand why they are. And I do have some misgivings and some apprehension about Netflix becoming even bigger when they already are the biggest. But then I think about you, and you're like, hey, I don't have HBO Max here, so it'd be great if everything was in one thing. And I do see people bitching about like content that's spread across all these multiple services. And if you just combine two, that means, yeah, hey, Netflix has all their own shows, but now they have all the HBO shows. So it's like, okay, you combine this stuff, so now it's like less, but then you figure the cost. It's not going to remain $25 for the highest tier. That shit's going to spike. And then they'll have everything, and you might be like, oh, $40 a month? You know, but then there's also, I saw some people talking about this. What if this ruins Netflix? $83 billion is a lot to throw around. Is it really going to increase your subscriber base that much? I mean, you already have like 280 million subscribers or 320, like... Are you,
dude? Are they? It depends how they raise the cash. Are they gonna pay all cash?
It's mostly cash. Yes.
Well, do they have that kind of cash on hand? Because that's absurd.
I don't know. I mean, Microsoft had that cash on hand. I don't know if Netflix did.
Microsoft, bro.
I know, but I'm just saying. You could easily see them swallowing this company, spending that money, and it not turning out exactly how they want. And sure, maybe I understand why Netflix would want them, because it's like you have the chance to own premier movie studios with premier IPs, but Netflix already has, I don't know, 300 million subscribers. And if you add HBO Max and all this other stuff, like how much more are you actually going to get? You know what I mean? Is it really a significant number where like you spend 82 billion and then you add another 100 million subscribers on all the different tiers you own? Because it could be something easy like that where they get it and their subscriber base doesn't really move. Now, you could make the argument like it would be more beneficial for Paramount because nobody really subscribes to Paramount. And why would they? Like, I was using their app the other day. It's hot trash. But
yeah,
Netflix is already far and away the biggest. And yeah, I don't know. This is going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out, especially if Paramount seems to be as angry about it as they are, and they definitely have ties to the current administration where this might go on for a bit, and I don't know, but you can definitely tell people aren't happy about it.
How do you think do you think it changes Netflix's approach to gaming?
Yeah,
because Netflix has been trying. They've been trying.
Well, that's the other aspect which we haven't really touched much on, is the gaming side of it, which is interesting. And Warner Brothers games has sort of fallen off this gen. I mean, I say that, but they did put out probably the best-selling game of the generation that's not Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty with Hogwarts Legacy, right? Game came out 2023. It was massive, but Suicide Squad flopped. I mean, they shut down and canceled Monolith and their Wonder Woman game. That Batman, it wasn't a Batman game, but it was like it was the Batman game without Batman. I forget the name of it now. Gotham Knights, and it wasn't very good either. I mean, I liked it, but it didn't do so. Like Warner Brothers gaming has sort of declined this gen.
Yeah, and Mortal Kombat didn't do particularly well.
Mortal Kombat 1 didn't do particularly well either. So the thing is with Netflix though is they tried to build up their gaming portfolio. And a lot of it a lot of it's like mobile games where you log into the app or whatever. They bought some studios. I think they just recently closed one of them down. They also were building that big AAA studio with Joseph Staten and I think like one of the directors from like the God of War games or whatever. And then they shut that studio down after like a year without anything happen. Like they were going in a different direction for gaming, and now they own these big studios and these big properties. And you sort of wonder, okay, what does that look like?
In the other direction.
I mean,
I think Netflix is really naive about gaming. Like they acquired the Oxenfree studio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, it felt like they specifically excluded Xbox.
Oh, they sure did.
Because
it came at every platform except Xbox.
Yeah, they specifically excluded Xbox, and it felt like that was because of Game Pass. And their whole mentality is like, we want to have products for our streaming service, because someone who's playing a game on Game Pass, they ain't watching a movie on Netflix, you know? So they're probably, and also, you know, Microsoft poached a lot of Netflix staff to run Game Pass in the past. So there probably is that sort of aspect, like, within Netflix, where they think we potentially compete with a streaming service, a game service like Game Pass, almost directly, because like I say, if someone's playing a game on Game Pass, they're not watching a movie on Netflix, and so on and so forth. You know, it's not obviously not direct competition, but it's like it's sort of adjacent, right? So their mentality is probably like, wouldn't it be great if we had Game Pass? Like, if we had the amount of content and quality to make Game Pass a thing. And part of me is just like, they don't really fully realize how much work that would actually be to deliver. Which is why, like, I feel like their sort of gesture of keeping Oxenfree 2 off Xbox was just like so ridiculously petty, and also a little transparent about how badly they don't get where gaming is going. Because it's not like Microsoft's withholding games from other services, because they know that to bust the zeitgeist, you kind of have to be everywhere, in gaming at least. So I don't know. I think one thing for sure, I think if Netflix did acquire Warner Brothers, I don't know what would happen with, you know, DC Universe and all the movies and stuff like that. You know, I'm not a big movie buff, but one thing I do think Netflix would really screw up and fail with is trying to run AAA gaming studios. I think they ain't got a clue. And I think it's evident in the way they've handled, you know, Joseph Staten's studio. They threw a bunch of money around, and they didn't even wait to see if they could deliver something. It's like Amazon with the studio itself for New World.
It was like Google Stadia. They had these studios that they were building, and then nothing ever came out of it, right?
Yeah. There's got to be some expertise at the top down to deliver even slightly in a scenario where you throw money around.
Well, you say like, well, you just let Warner Brothers Gaming run itself like how it has been, but then it's like it hasn't really been run great recently. So, but then you're right, Netflix hasn't really done good games, so that could be a huge problem. And that could be one of those things where you look at like this deal, maybe like I mentioned, like maybe this ends up being bad for Netflix, spending all this money, getting all this stuff, and it maybe not panning out exactly how they want. And maybe they look at it like, a few years down the road, we need to cut costs. Let's get rid of some of these gaming companies. Because you would probably imagine some of those gaming companies, if you were looking to cut costs out of all this stuff, gaming is probably where you're going to cut. I mean, I guess you could cut movie studios or whatever, but gaming stuff is like probably like the lower margins than some of the other things. And it's like, well, we don't necessarily need any of this. So it's like, yeah, I mean, there are some worries everywhere, but like, is this could it be worse off than what it currently is? I mean, currently it's not great, but not saying it couldn't. Not saying they couldn't get better, but I'm like, nothing Netflix has shown me they know how to do gaming right. So that is a cause for concern. I don't know, it's funny because how many years now has there been rumors about Warner Brothers selling off their gaming division? I feel like it's been a thing since 2020.
Yeah, there was all those rumors of them trying to shop them to Xbox and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the other publishers and stuff. So it definitely seems like they wanted to get out of it for a while now.
What if Netflix sold it to Microsoft, eh?
Yeah, that's not happening.
I seen a few people talk about that discussion possibility, but yeah,
well, we know that wouldn't happen because if Netflix owns the IPs, they ain't giving them to Microsoft. And no. I don't think Mr. Satya is going to be wanting to spend more billions of dollars on Xbox, So I know everybody always looks at acquisitions, but I'm not sure that's within Xbox's purview anymore, really.
Why isn't Netflix spending $80 billion on an AI company, Rand? I thought AI was the next big thing. What happened? What happened with that?
I don't know. It's good. I mean, who's to say Netflix isn't invested in one of these AI companies? Or, maybe the AI companies will come to Netflix, and since Netflix owns all these IPs, maybe they license out the trademarks and the licenses to the AIs, and Netflix gets a huge bag so people can create their own AI stuff. God. Like, if you want to make AI Harry Potter, well, guess what? Like, Midjourney or whoever had to pay Netflix all this money to, get the licenses or whatever, get the likenesses. I don't know how all that's going to play out, but it's definitely going to be a thing people talk about for a long time, and there's going to be updates, just like there was with ABK, where there was constant updates and the regulators go over it. And I don't want to say it's 100%, but I really do feel at least the Department of Justice here is going to block this. Yeah. Or try to block this. And then maybe you even have the trial. You remember people tuning into the trial of ABK with the judges and stuff?
Oh, yeah. I
mean,
remember.
That might all happen. So
good times, eh? Good times, Rand. Yeah. Do you remember? Good times.
Good times.
Not really.
But I guess you could say this was all just going to happen. I mean, once they kind of allowed Disney to buy Fox, this is all sort of inevitable, really.
Inevitable.
Inevitable. If Lena Khan was still around, you could definitely say this would be blocked.
Has Lena Khan commented on this?
I don't think so, but I know Senator Elizabeth Warren did. She's not a fan of it whatsoever.
I'm so shocked about this.
Shocking. But anyways, so yeah, that's the good old Netflix and Warner Brothers. So we'll see how we'll keep our eye on that for sure. I just have this. I don't know, man. I just think this might go really bad for their gaming division. Because if there's one thing Netflix might just say, fuck it, it's their gaming shit. And it's like, now you're just in charge of all these expensive gaming studios that really haven't been pulling their weight for a while. I don't know. I mean, because you're already seeing stuff like Eidos Montreal just had like a whole bunch of layoffs. And I think Insider Gaming and Tom Henderson had a report about how like Legacy of Kain game was essentially just canceled, and they're basically a support studio. I think they are working on something that's had a lot of money invested into it, but it doesn't really. And it's like, man, the Crystal Dynamics had the layoffs partially because of like the cancellation of Perfect Dark, and I just think about what could have been, back when Square Enix sold them, and it's like I knew Embracer getting them would not be like for the good. And we're gonna get shit from Eidos Montreal or Crystal Dynamics, outside of just I think Eidos Montreal helping on Grounded 2. Yeah, man.
It's been a bit. It's been a bit sucky, bro.
It's sad. It's sad to see. We have let me ask you this, because I don't really know much about this. So Tim Kaine has come out of retirement to rejoin Obsidian. Is this what's this about,
Yeah,
Jez?
yeah.
Look, I don't really know much about Tim Kaine. I mean, I know he's like the creator or co-creator of Fallout, right? The original Fallout. This seems like big news because he was kind of semi-retired, right?
Yes.
Um,
So, Tim Kaine is, one of the original co-creators of Fallout, alongside, people like Brian Fargo and the OGs from Interplay back in the day.
so
And
apparently, he previously joined Obsidian in 2011 as a programmer working on South Park and Pillars of Eternity. He also co-directed The Outer Worlds and consulted on its recent sequel. And in 2020, he left the position and worked on remote contracted basis. In a new video published on his YouTube channel on Friday, Kaine revealed that he's rejoined the company, quote, as a full-time employee and in person, and that he's currently working on an unannounced project which he doesn't think fans will guess. He says, quote, I'm back at Obsidian. I'm there as a full-time employee and in person, so not remote, and I'm not a contractor anymore. This means that I'm not working in other places, although there's at least one game that I worked on elsewhere that I know is going to ship. I can't talk about the project that I'm working on Obsidian just because that's covered by NDA. Don't bother guessing. You're not going to guess right. I would probably say that I'm a lot less retired now. So
yeah, I think it's awesome because he's, responsible for some amazing games. Um, you know, co-responsible for some amazing games and some amazing writing. There's like he was running a YouTube channel for a while and commenting on the game industry and things like that. There's quite a famous picture of, I think it's Tim Kaine, Brian Fargo, Todd Howard, and maybe Josh Sawyer meeting up at one of the gaming events, and it was like, the generations of Fallout together, something like that. But yeah, he's got a prominent YouTube channel. He's very well liked, and I think it's only a good thing. I'm not super familiar with him personally, and like his work specifically, but it does feel a bit like Microsoft must be doing something right if, like, a lot of industry greats like Brian Fargo, like Tim Schafer, and like Josh Sawyer and stuff like that. If they're willing to not only stay with Microsoft but also, potentially grow as well, it kind of feels like Microsoft must be doing something right somewhere and giving these studios like enough autonomy that they feel like they can actually cook without the typical corporate frustrations, which I'm also well familiar with these days. So not much more to say. I suppose like we'll just have to wait and see what they cook up for us.
yeah.
But do you have any thoughts on what the game could be? I see a bunch of people in chat say Shadowrun.
I mean,
because
he does say you can't guess it, and I know when you hear Tim Kaine's joined Obsidian and it's Fallout, and then there's the rumors of a new Fallout and stuff, and people expecting like New Vegas 2 from them or whatever. So like everyone's first thought is probably, oh, he's there to make a Fallout game, right?
Mm.
But he says you can't guess it. But it's one of those things. Is like, is he telling the truth? Is he just saying that? Because like, if you announce, hey, we've rehired Tim Kaine, he's here full time, he's working on a new game, most people will be like, it's Fallout, and you don't really want that announced until you're ready to announce it on your own terms. Like, it's probably years away. So he could just be one of those things where you can't really say. It's like you can't guess it, and maybe you can't. Maybe it's not like, oh, it's Fallout, but it's. You didn't say it was Fallout Crossguard, because that's what I'm making, right? Where you wouldn't be able to really guess it because, right? I have no clue.
Or Fallout, the TV show, the game.
Yeah, like I have no clue what he could be. What he could be there. I'm not sure. I don't think. I don't really think I've played any of the games he's really made. I mean, I did play out Outer Worlds 1 for a little bit, but I know I didn't play the OG Fallouts and stuff. So
I think what I don't. Well, it's probably something completely new. If I had to guess,
I would also there's a part of me that thinks it's probably also a smaller game. Maybe not like Pentiment small or whatever, but on the smaller scale of things, maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe it's like, hey, we're because you figure like Avowed, they just put out their new update. Like their update's been pushed to next year, 2026, and there's no sign of DLC content. It's just, hey, New Game Plus, which the fact that New Game Plus took a year to come to Avowed, it's like, what are we doing here? And the photo mode, it's like the two big features they have in their bullet list of points is New Game Plus and photo mode, and it's like, really, like. That's what you're doing for your anniversary update a year later is adding a New Game Plus and a photo mode. Like, are there any plans for any sort of expansions? Doesn't really seem like it.
No.
I don't know. I don't know what that team who made Avowed is doing. I mean, I know there are rumors that Avowed 2 is going to be in development. And hell, someone sent me their guess that the Jeff Keighley statue was for Avowed 2. And I sent it to you, Jez, remember? I was like, look,
Yeah,
the people think it's Avowed 2, but there's no way Avowed 2 would be anywhere close to being shown off. There's no reason to announce it this early because you're still probably years away from it. You know, good guess though, but it's like
they do move pretty quickly, Obsidian these days.
They do.
They're one of the most productive studios at Microsoft.
Absolutely, yeah. When you get down to brass tacks, absolutely one of the most efficient studios there is. So, I don't know. What would you want Tim Kaine to make if like you were there? I mean, I know you would probably want a Fallout game, but are you just excited for him to just be creating again? So it doesn't really matter what it is. You're just fine with it.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's that. I'm excited that creative people are able to have the autonomy to create what they want to create at the end of the day. So whatever they make, you know, look forward to seeing that. But if it was me being selfish, I would want to see either a Fallout 1 remake, because Fallout 1, even as CRPGs go, has not aged well. And I do think there is renewed interest for this genre thanks to Baldur's Gate, you know. And I know you're not particularly fond of the genre, but I think you can agree at the very least that Baldur's Gate is absolutely a phenomenon, you know. And on the back of the TV show, if you just tell people like, oh, this is the OG Fallout, it's like Baldur's Gate, come and play it, and modern everything, just, you know, same story or enhanced story or whatever, I think that'd be a good shout. Similarly so for Pillars of Eternity. And I think, you know, Pillars of Eternity, I do think it's interesting that they went back to add a turn-based mode to Pillars of Eternity 1, a game which, you know, has more than run its course, I would say. So they went all the way back and they've added, you know, the turn-based mode. They didn't have to do that, but I think clearly they're thinking about CRPGs again. Josh Sawyer also said he'd love to make a $300 million CRPG, or, you know, I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember exactly what he said. He's been quite a while, but he basically said something to the effect of he'd like to make a big budget CRPG, I think, at some point a couple of years ago. So maybe it's something like that, because maybe it's a CRPG, maybe it's a new CRPG, but we'll have to just wait and see. It's probably years away either way.
Yeah, but that was something today I saw that was like, that's interesting. I'm sure this actually made a bunch of people really happy, right?
Yeah, I think it did. He's very popular, so I'm excited.
Yeah, now we just need to wait and see what he's going to be working on. So,
what he's
cool.
Cooking up.
We'll see. We get a couple super chats here. We got
a lot of people in chat saying it's scalebound.
Yeah, it's scalebound, of course. Falabi7218 says, question for Jez. Any hints you can give for next year's BlizzCon for Overwatch? Also, is there any TV show, movie being made with that franchise? Thanks.
I can't. I mean, I know something that's a BlizzCon, but I think everyone kind of knows. If you've been following and watching out, the fact that the BlizzCon invite they sent out to influencers featured the StarCraft logo. And, you know, Jason Schreier previously shared that there's a StarCraft shooter being worked on. I think you can pretty much guarantee that StarCraft 2, the StarCraft shooter is going to be there in some form, I think. Mm-hmm. Teaser trailer, maybe gameplay trailer, something like that. Also, with regards to Overwatch, I mean, it's a big yes on them wanting to expand the cinematic footprint of Overwatch. There is a lot being invested in doing that right now. So I would say watch the space, but I don't know anything concrete exactly. I'm not going to sit here and claim that I know for sure the shooter's there. It just seems like the stars are aligning, right? So I'm just
Yeah.
kind of reading the tea leaves there. I don't know what their plans are fully outright, but if I had to guess, major news for Overwatch expansions, but focusing on story aspects of the game and the characters. Because I know, from internal meeting notes that I've seen that they think the character-driven aspect of Overwatch is being underutilized. So you can interpret that as maybe they want to explore doing TV shows or anime or something like that. We'll see, right?
I mean, they make
Um,
these great like
the sh-
CGI shorts that
yeah, the
Blizzard does,
shorts.
which are incredible.
Yeah, the shorts are amazing.
But now it's kind of funny how they've been doing this for a long time, but now people actually want TV shows or movies based on it, not just 3 to 5 minute sort of introductory shorts to a character. They want like a
Yeah,
full.
dude.
And you know what? With all the characters you have in Overwatch and stuff, you could make an Overwatch show, like for
Easily,
sure.
easily. Dude, there's so much lore, like there's comics, there's all kinds of stuff. Like a lot of the basics of the Overwatch universe are really well established. So it kind of writes itself potentially. If you've got someone as knowledgeable and passionate as the Fallout showrunners are, I think it would work really, really, really well. But yeah, I don't know for sure what they're doing, but I think this BlizzCon next year is going to be one to remember. But there's going to be some pretty exciting Blizzard stuff at the Game Awards too, especially if you're a Diablo fan. I think.
Hey, I heard that the new Diablo season starts the day after.
Yeah, it starts right after the Game Awards.
Huh.
Not on their typical day.
Hmm.
So typically, like, they have a specific day for doing dropping patches and seasons for Diablo. A specific time window. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. Jen was explaining all this to me. Because I don't pay that much attention to like timings and stuff. But yeah, this year, this season, it drops right after the Game Awards. So maybe there's a big reason for that. I mean, one of the reasons is Path of Exile's dropping a season. Path of Exile 2 is dropping a new season, and they've got a new class in their season, the Druid. So I think there's some aspects of maybe wanting to compete with that to some degree. But I think Blizzard's been cooking something interesting for that game.
Since the Game Awards is next week, and Jeff is still teasing the statue or whatever. I've gotten a couple questions from people asking me, what does Xbox have to show if they're showing anything at the show? What do you think?
Well, Diablo's going to be there for one thing, which I suppose is adjacent to the Xbox. But beyond that, I have no idea, to be honest. I mean, I could look into it a bit more. I've been sort of out of the loop a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know right now.
Yeah, because
What could
sometimes you
they show?
well
It's a bit weird because we're coming up. Sorry, we're coming up really close to the Dev Direct,
right.
and I suppose like they could show off trailers for games they're going to show at the Dev Direct and be like, "Here's a glimpse at Fable. Tune into Dev Direct later
Yeah, but
on."
they haven't done that though. Like we always say that, but they haven't specifically done that. And it's like usually because remember there was one year we all expected them to be there and then they weren't, and it was like, oh well, they haven't actually doing a Dev Direct, and it was like, well, I guess maybe moving forward we're not going to have Xbox make a lot of big presents because they had their own show a month later. But then like the following year it was they revealed Blade, they revealed something about OD. There was like the Hellblade 2 stuff. And so it's like this year you're like, yeah, what could Xbox show, right? We know the Halo remake has already been revealed. We know that Forza Horizon 6 is coming, although we haven't seen a trailer for it yet. Well, actually, we have seen a trailer, but it was it was basically nothing. It was just an announcement thing of like Forza Horizon 6 is coming at the Tokyo Game Show. We know we haven't seen Gear Z Day in over a year now. They got those big games there, and it's like, okay, well, we know Dev Direct is going to be in January, and it's like, well, do they double up and be like, here's a Forza Horizon actual like real gameplay trailer, a short one, like a 2-minute one, and then like you have the gameplay blowout in January for the game coming out in like May or something. I mean, I guess you could see that, but I could also see him being like, we're going to hold our stuff for ourselves. So I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess that's just a long way of saying like I could see either scenario happening, but
yeah. I'm honestly like in the dark, but I haven't really asked around that much. It's like one of the annoying things about my job these days is that like, you know, I don't do as much investigating as I'd like to. No, it's so dumb in journalism how like your career progression is like you become a good writer and you get lots of clicks or whatever, and then your career progression seems to be okay. Now you're a manager and you're not doing as much writing, and now you're doing spreadsheets and stuff. It doesn't make any sense in a way. Like the thing I was good at and the thing that I was hired for and promoted for, and now they want me to do something else. So I don't spend as much time investigating this kind of thing as I would have done previously, especially in this quarter with Black Friday and all that, managing that kind of stuff. But when is the Game Awards exactly?
Thursday.
Is this the last show before the Game Awards?
Yes. The Game Awards is this upcoming Thursday.
So I think I'm going to be pretty much that. I've seen a couple of games for previews, which I can't talk about. One of them is a sequel to a very popular game, which looked amazing, and stuff like that. But I'm pretty much going in blind this year, except for the Diablo stuff, which I'm pretty excited to see.
Right.
They're going to go really hard with that because I want to say they've cooked, bro. I want to say they've cooked. God.
We'll see about that. It's gonna be funny. You're gonna play it, and then like a week later, you're like, what?
You're not gonna care because you don't like those kind of games.
Hell no.
I think Diablo fans are gonna be pretty happy with it.
We'll see. You know what I'm just waiting for? I want more Ark content. Still addicted to Ark. That's what I've been playing. I think I'm at 125 hours now. And
people still play that game? It's old, bro. It's old news now, bro.
Game is still super addictive. Although it's funny because last night, and I think even the night before, we didn't extract camp, but we heard people leaving while we were close to an extraction. Both times last couple nights, and we just went in there and wrecked shop and killed them as they were like trying to leave. And I know people are like, how could you do that? How could you do that? They're leaving. It's like, hey, it's a PvP game, man. We're out there to have some fun. And getting into fights is a lot of fun in this game. Sure, nobody likes to lose when you get into a gunfight, but I mean, there's some cool stuff like rolling up on a team and taking them out.
I have seen some like really hilarious takes about Ark where people are like, you know, they play the game, they know it's PvP, and then they get mad when they get killed.
Because I've been on the other side too, where you actually, you know, you spend your time during the match, you're looting some stuff, maybe you got some cool gear, and you think you're ready to escape, and then either someone's camping extraction, which we've never done, or somebody rolls into extraction and kills you. I've been on the side of that stuff. I've had some great things that I've lost. I've been spawn camped, not spawn camped. I've been extraction camped where I had a Tempest blueprint, one of the better epic weapons you could. I got the blueprint for it, and I was on a free loadout, so I didn't have a safe pouch, and I got extraction camped. I went down to the extraction. I got hit by a jolt mine, which electrocuted me in place, and the guy shotgunned me to death. And he was just camping out. He didn't go loot anything. He just put up his traps in the extraction. I came, I didn't see it, and I died, and I lost that. I lost what I had. So like, yeah, that does piss you. You're like, son of a bitch. So I understand why people do. So that's why we don't extract camp. But if we're close by and we hear someone calling for the extraction, we will definitely go and try to win that fight. Because it's fun. It's engaging. It's intense. You know, there are plenty of times where we thought we'd had the drop on people, and then we get killed. plenty of times where it's like, hey, they don't know we're here. We're going to go get into a fight. And then for whatever reason, whether they got the better weapons or the better angles, we ended up dying and then losing all of our stuff when we had to jump on them. You know? It happens. But, like, yeah, there was a couple games last night where it was utterly ridiculous. Like, I think we killed, like, 6 people. And then the bombardier was shooting missiles at the building we were on because there were people up on the on the roof and stuff. It was just craziness. And that's like the joy of why I like Arc Raiders so much, is those moments. It's like, yeah, you know, playing with my buddies is great. You know, I'm at the point now where I have a ton of stuff and I have a lot of money. So, like, if I lose my stuff, that's fine because I'll have a replacement and I can just buy, you know, any sort of thing I want. Like, I'm not hurting for money and stuff. But it's like getting it's rolling into the map and then getting into a fight and having those, like, big epic moments that you don't really have in a lot of other games. It's just, it's still addictive. And you know, like I mentioned before, I'm not sure how long I'll play this game because I'm sure that we had this conversation last night. I'm sure by the time all the new games start coming out, like when you get to February and Resident Evil 9 Requiem's out, and when you get into like High on Life 2's out, and I just saw Replaced finally got a release date after all this time, and that's coming out in March, and you know, Bond's coming out in March, and like right now there's nothing really new coming out. And sure, I did just recently buy Silent Hill 2 on Xbox, and I did recently buy Metal Gear Solid Delta because it was part of the Black Friday sale on Xbox. And I'll get to those whenever I get to them, because I already played Silent Hill 2 on the PlayStation. And I played, you know, Metal Gear 20 years ago, and I want to play it. It's the reason I bought it. But it's not like I need to play it right now. I can wait. And yeah, I did buy Ghost of Yotai, but it's already past launch, so it's like I'll play it when I get around to it, when I'm basically done with Arc Raiders. But I will be done with Arc Raiders, or I will stop playing it when, hey, here's Resident Evil 9 Requiem. It doesn't matter. That game's out. I ain't playing Arc Raiders. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even sure I'll be playing Arc Raiders by the time it comes out in February. You know, will I even make it out of December? And you know, I've been playing this game pretty much every single day for a month now, since it released. So, and there was at one point I was like, oh, maybe my time in this game's over. But the past couple weeks have been great. So, who's to say? But I do know that, you know, this game does have a time limit, because there are going to be games coming out next year that I'm going to want to play right away. And I typically just play one single game at a time. Although maybe I could play these other games earlier than I would play Arc Raiders. Like, I play Arc Raiders at night and play those other ones earlier, but that's not typically how I do things. So I'm just enjoying the time I have with the game. It's great. It's probably moved up to my second best favorite game of the year. And
behind Expedition.
Yeah, it's like Expedition's number 1, Arc Raiders is number 2. If I had to continue on, I would guess my number 3 would be Split Fiction. Number 4 would be Silent Hill F. 5 would be Dispatch. 6 would probably be Death Stranding 2. 7 would be Shinobi. 8 would probably be Chronos. Like, something like that. Some of the list would look something like that. I'd have to sit down and think about it more, but it would look something like that. But if you would have told me at the beginning of this year that Arc Raiders would be on my list, let alone the top 2, I would have called you crazy. I would have said that after I played the tech test with my friends, and they all hated it. And I thought, well, I guess I don't got to worry about this game. And then we all started playing it when the full release came out, and everybody's addicted to it. So who knows? But I'm so much enjoying it.
Let me ask you this before we get more super chats and stuff. And let me ask you this. I don't know if we got this as a topic, actually. Maybe we do. But one thing I kind of noticed recently was I saw an article that was kind of like Battlefield loses all of its players after 2 months or something
like
like that, or
80%
wherever.
of its players or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I saw an article about that, and one thing I've noticed, like, is after all the hype, it's Arc Raiders that got the hype in the end. So after all the whole summer, everyone's like, "Oh, Battlefield's going to cook Call of Duty alive," and then PlayStation put out a blog post saying Call of Duty's got the most downloads of 20 of the month or something like that.
Yeah, the most downloaded game of November or whatever. Even though I think most of the sales stuff for the game it's down. Like it definitely seems like it's down a lot in Europe.
It's probably down for Call of Duty, but it's still Call of Duty, you know.
Sure.
So like after all that hype, let me ask you this: was it Arc Raiders that took the wind out of Battlefield sales rather than Call of Duty, and was it Arc Raiders that took the wind out of Call of Duty sales?
I think
rather than Battlefield.
So yeah, it's tough for me to say because I didn't play Battlefield 6, but just judging from what I see people say online is that Battlefield 6 really didn't have a lot of exciting post-launch content. Like once you played for a couple weeks, it was kind of it, and that was, you know, I think their big thing was supposed to be the Battle Royale, which I don't know. As much as like me and my friends played it and we enjoyed it, it didn't blow us away like Warzone did in 2020. And maybe that people at Battlefield thought that would help retain players a lot better than it has. Because you're right, I did see the same thing where it's like, oh, Battlefield's lost 80% of its players. But also at the same time, like this is the best-selling Battlefield of all time, significantly. It's probably going to be in the running of like one of the best-selling games of the year. It's just a matter of retaining players, and it's like, well, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Arc Raiders has blown up, and I think they've done a better job of post-launch content. I mean, they had like a new map available the next month, and there is like they're adding like winter versions of the maps this month with new things. So I think maybe it seems that Arc Raiders post-launch content hit harder with people than Battlefield's, because I think the Battlefield stuff and the BR not doing as good as they thought it might, I think really hurt. But yeah, maybe Arc Raiders is the thing that really is causing problems for them. But I do see that online where it's like, oh man, Battlefield came and went like a fart in the wind. Like it did sell a lot of copies, but nobody's playing it anymore. So
I didn't play Battlefield anywhere near as much as I was expecting to play it.
How come?
I don't know. I think like I played the beta really hardcore, and now like the full game's here, and it's just like,
see, I don't know why people do that. People no life the betas and stuff. They spend like 20, 30 hours in the betas, and then when the full game comes out, they don't play it as much. I'm like, well, yeah, you just spent all that time in the beta. Why would you do that?
See, you'd think I'd learn my lesson, because this is exactly why I'm not playing the Warcraft beta, because I've done this in the past where I've gone crazy in the Warcraft beta, and then when it comes to do it again for live, I've been like, you know, it doesn't feel as the hype is gone. And I did that exact same thing for Battlefield. So yeah, I guess I played myself for a fool, bro. I guess. Rip me, I suppose.
Rip you indeed. Let's see what else here. We have KFX Twin says, Rand, have you read Halo? I'm on book 2 and loving it. I have not. I have not read the Halo books. People have tried to get me into reading the Halo books, and I just don't think I ever will. I got so many books. You know, people talk about how big people's backlogs are, and how many games release every single year, and how many movies release every single year, and it's hard to keep up. Like, I think, you know how many games released on Steam this year?
1,000 million?
Like 18,000. Right, you know, something like that. Like, A
Oh my
large,
god.
large number. And people wonder why the industry is kind of trending the way it is because there are too many developers and there's too many games and the audience isn't necessarily growing like maybe it should. So, of course, you're going to have a whole bunch of stuff that fails, right?
Mm,
But with
yeah.
books, you know how many books released last year?
I have no
So
idea.
like if you like 18,000 games, and I don't know how many movies, not as many. I think there's probably more games than movies that come out every single year, right?
Hmm.
So I don't know, maybe say 5 movies a week, 50. So I don't know, maybe there's 300 movies a year. I don't know, not including Netflix and stuff, but either way. So like 18,000 games. Let's just say 5,000 movies. That's a lot. It's like whatever. You know how many books came out? 3 million books were released last year.
That's a lot of books I'm never gonna
I
read.
know, but I'm saying, I remember reading the stat, but it kind of blew my mind, and I don't even know if it's true. I think it might be, but do you remember with the
I mean,
advent
sure. I think it's definitely true.
of e-readers and stuff, and how like that kind of really brought reading to more people because it was like the digital thing people could hold in their hands and all that sort of stuff,
Hmm.
right? Well, I was reading like in 2013 when that kind of first started or whatever year it was, that year, and like you can like self-publish on Amazon and all those things, like that year more books were published that year than in the entire history of the entire world up to that point. Like if you took every single book that has ever been written from the dawn of human civilization to like 2012 and whatever number that was, the number of books that were published in 2013 was bigger than that.
That's wild.
Which is crazy to think about, and you're like, that can't be true. There's got to be more. But yeah, I remember listening to Brandon Sanderson talk about that, and I thought like that's got to be something that is just like a fairy tale or like a urban legend or something. There's no way that more books are published in one year than the entirety of human civilization. But yeah, that's the thing. Like
Digitization, baby.
so there's so many books, and like my backlog of books is huge, and I'm always finding new things. That's you know, it's like I'll never run out of stuff to read if I don't want to, because there's just always something there. And I sort of wonder if that's also, well, I guess there's, well, I guess that how you would say it. You think there's more potential readers than there are potential gamers in the world?
It's hard to say, isn't it? Really.
Yeah,
I have no idea. I suppose like with books, it's part of it with books is like sometimes people just buy books and they just leave them on the shelf.
sure.
And I think like who was it? It was the Stardock chap, Brad Wardell, the Stardock CEO. He said something on a podcast that was kind of like the heroes of game customers are people who buy games and never play them, like hoard them.
Yeah.
Because he was saying like a huge portion of people on Steam buy games and never play them, and I'm definitely one of these
I
people.
mean, I bought games on Xbox that I had intentions of playing, but I haven't yet. Or I've even bought games on Xbox just to own. You know, like
Yeah, I've done that as well.
like the recent
Especially
Red Dead Redemption 1 like re-release where it was like I literally bought it on my, I have no intentions of ever playing Red Dead Redemption 1 again, but I did buy it just to have it. You know what I mean?
Well, I went even further than that this morning. I got the free upgrade for Red Dead Redemption 1, so I didn't have to buy it. Although there were some issues.
Yeah,
I don't know
there
if
were
those are
some issues
resolved.
with that, but I didn't own like the digital version of the Red Dead Redemption.
Ah, right, okay. Well, I did. So I managed to get the free upgrade. I think it was fixed in the UK first, maybe, because we wrote an article on it saying, oh, it's fixed because it worked for me. And then everyone was like, no, it's not fixed. And I was like, oh shit, I got to update the article because I thought it was just going to be fixed globally. It does seem like a regional issue, maybe. But anyways, I noticed this morning that Red Dead Redemption was available on the Microsoft Store on my Ally,
Okay.
but it's not Play Anywhere. which is really annoying. Even though it's got like Xbox achievements, it's a proper Xbox PC release, whatever, but it doesn't have any of the cool Xbox Play Anywhere stuff. But I was like, shall I buy it anyway? I kind of just want to. It'd be cool to have Red Dead Redemption on my Xbox Ally. A game that last gen it should run pretty well, optimized and all that kind of stuff. So I ended up buying it on PC, even though it's not Play Anywhere. So I bought the game twice. So how's that for buying something just for the sake of owning it? Oh man, saving the game industry, bro. Window Box 2901 in chat says Metal Gear Solid Delta is also coming to Microsoft Store on PC. Also not Play Anywhere, which again is really frustrating. It's a kind of a double-edged sword because it's like, oh wow, that's kind of cool that devs are actually organically bringing games to the Microsoft Store without Play Anywhere or without a Game Pass bag. Because usually Play Anywhere is a Game Pass thing. Usually launching on the Microsoft Store at all on PC is a Game Pass thing. But we've seen some pretty big devs actually just think, you know what, we're just going to stick it here, see what happens. But, man, it sucks it's not Play Anywhere. It has achievements, though, at least. So that's something.
All
Super
right.
chats.
Yes, hold on 1 second. We have one here from Champagne Supernova. It says, hey, gents, was pretty bummed to see Ybarra being crappy to Windows Central. Jez, you guys have always been. He's such a bitter former employee. I guess I must have missed this.
Yeah, so Brap said that he mischaracterized something I wrote in the article. Because I wrote in the article that Xbox had a few months where it beat PlayStation in sales when it came out of the gate.
I mean, it did.
Citing Sakana and The Verge.
Right.
And but I forgot to add the link,
Okay.
And Brap put a tweet out saying like, "Oh, this isn't true."
I mean, Xbox it was absolutely true. Fucking Satya Nadella bragged about how the Xbox was the #1 selling system like for 6 quarters in a row. What is he talking? Granted, this was in 2020, 2021, but that did happen. This isn't revisionist history. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, it happened.
Yeah, I was like, I second guessed myself because I was like, shit, did I get that wrong? And then I looked at it, I double checked, and it was like, no, it isn't wrong, And I literally wrote. It's funny because I was illustrating the point that they fucked that up,
sure.
Yeah, they did. But like even the slightest little bit of positivity from Xbox really triggers some people, right?
Absolutely.
Even though it wasn't actually positive because they had this lead and then they fucked it up, So it's whatever. But then Mike replied to him and was like, "Oh yeah, because if Xbox does bad, then Windows Central does bad," kind of thing. Which I thought was like, that's kind of mean.
Ybarra, the bastion of whatever. I'm not gonna say anything.
But it's just like I don't know. AI is going to kill Windows Central way before.
Yeah, AI is going to kill Windows Central before anything else does.
Yeah, but I think Mike was treated pretty badly by Microsoft. So
he was fired twice. What do you think? I'd understand Mike having the way he feels with Microsoft when he was basically told to jump fucking ship twice. Wouldn't you? I mean,
no, I'd be pissed as hell. And not only that, I was like, I was really happy when Mike became the lead of Blizzard because Mike is a genuinely passionate Blizzard guy and also a hardcore raider. So it's kind of like that's the kind of person you want to have.
Do you want to know something? You want to know something? When Mike left the first time to join Blizzard. Now, normally I don't like ask any Xbox people for anything or whatever. We just talk about what's going on in the world or the games we're playing or whatever. But I know quite a few Xbox people, right? I remember when Ybarra left the first time, and the messages I got from Xbox employees at the time, I'm not shitting you. I got a couple that were like, this is the best day in Xbox history. Like, Ybarra leaving is the greatest thing in Xbox history. P was not liked. At least, I mean, obviously the sample size I have of it, only really knowing a small segment, but like out of the people that I knew, they didn't like Mike whatsoever. He was, I don't know how that works on the grander scheme of Xbox in general with the thousands of employees, but from the ones who messaged me, they were definitely not a fan whatsoever. So, yeah. But I don't know. It's one of those things where Mike only gets engagement when he talks about Xbox, similar to like other people in a situation where there were former Xbox fans or whatever, and they talk about something else and nobody cares. So then it's like, hey, talk about this, and it's like, yeah, Mike was mistreated by Xbox in a way, let go twice, and I would feel a certain way too. It always felt like there was this bad blood between certain people within the organization and him. And Mike, I think Mike wanted everything to run one way, where there was like kind of running another way, and I don't think he was a fan of that. But the one thing you say about Mike is that Mike's like a gamer, because there are plenty of people at Xbox, even when Mike was there on the executive level, who didn't play games, didn't like games, and it was just a job for them, and it was like
just a job. Yeah,
Mike was there, and Mike is a serious gamer, so he always had that aspect of it, which I always very much appreciated about him. Was like he was very much like of that mindset of like what's best for the gamers, what's best for also the business too. But like, I guess that like any business, it's like there are always going to be people who, I'm part of this board, I'm part of this executive thing, but I don't actually use the product. I'm just here because, I know people or because I meet the requirements, but I don't actually game. So whatever, they make I'm sure there's people at Xbox that are like that now. And I'm sure there's probably people like that at a bunch of different, places where they're not really gamers in any way, shape, or form. But that's one thing Mike was like. He playing Diablo, playing Destiny, playing everything else. The dude games. And,
and he doesn't get people. He doesn't pay people to game on his behalf and then pretend to be a gamer like certain other execs have. But he's I also really liked how. I remember when I was first at E3 for the first time, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and I still don't really. But I was like, I was sort of terrified, and I was there with a bunch of other Xbox creators who were pretty terrified. The Inner Circle podcast, with Len Wood, who sadly passed away a few years ago. I remember seeing Mike, like, they were there, and Mike was like, they were like tiny podcasts at the time.
Yeah.
Minuscule. And Mike was still like lining up to help him out, get him backstage, get him access and things like that.
Oh, Mike loved the fan stuff.
Yeah. And this is a podcast with like probably at the time they had less than 1,000 subscribers. This is like,
I mean, hell, Mike came on Xbox too. I want to say it was twice, or maybe it was once.
Yeah, it was twice.
Yeah, he was always like helping out, trying to help behind the scenes with getting people into FanFest or getting people into E3 stuff. Like, yeah, he did do a lot. So, it's just also like, it's like with anything else. Like I always view when there's a bad breakup between people, I always kind of just think in my head, okay, I always sort of like, well, I'm gonna keep this. Like I understand why they're upset, but also at the same time, it's like, is this really? Is this the truth, or is it more like I just don't like the way it all ended, and I have like a quote unquote an agenda? Because I definitely know people like that. I'm not saying that Mike is like that, but I just always keep it in the back of my mind about like they sort of kind of did him wrong, and I don't hold it against him if he holds a grudge in any way, shape, or form, So no, it's kind of like,
I wouldn't.
Yeah, do I take everything Mike says about Xbox with 100% like legit where there's not any like bad feelings there, and I always kind of just being like, you know, I mean, I kind of still wish Mike was still working there. I mean, you always told me that he did a really good job turning around Blizzard, because before the acquisition, like World of Warcraft was in a bad place and all this sort of stuff, and he helped, you know, some of the decisions he made it better or whatever, or maybe not. I didn't really follow Blizzard at the time, but he was in charge of it, right?
No, that's what I was told. Yeah.
So shout out to Mike. I don't know if he'll hear this. Probably not. Maybe somebody will tag him and be like, "Oh, Jez and Rand are talking shit about Mike." It's like, nah, I haven't said a bad thing about Mike. I'm just aware of what happened, and I'm always kind of cautious of you know, how people feel about how relationships end. But yeah, Mike was always good to me. 90% of the time. That one time, he knows. What else we got here? See, we got Juan, who says, "Did any of you play The Alters? That was one of the best games this year, in my opinion, and I don't see enough people talking about it. Love the show." Thank you. I believe you played The Alters. I have it downloaded. It's another game in my backlog that I want to get to at some point. I did see a lot of people upset that the voice actor of the game didn't get any nominations, because he basically had to voice like 12 versions of himself or whatever.
Yeah, I think that just kind of shows how much of a blind spot the panel has with regards to things like that. Like, not just that, but also like multiplayer games and things like that. That's why you can sort of really easily predict that shit, right? But anyways, I did play The Alters, but I'll be honest, I got pretty frustrated with it, and it's my own fault. I sort of got myself into I kind of soft locked myself. I got myself into a situation which required me to basically go back and redo a load of stuff. And I was just like, man, I don't really want to go back and start over on a lot of this. So I just honestly got I needed to start over, basically, or at least like start over from the previous level. Or I felt like I did. There might have been a way where I could have painted myself out of a corner, because the way The Alters works is it's a resource management game, essentially. And you create clones of yourself to sort of run your base. But if you create the wrong clones, or you piss them off and you don't manage your time properly, everything starts falling apart. And I had to redo a part like 3 or 4 times, and it just felt like no matter what I did, there was no way back. Like, I just sort of broke my save file. So I got frustrated with it, but concept was amazing. I wish I'd gotten a bit further in with it and stuck it out, but I just ended up getting frustrated. Like, man, trying to get the pylons there and getting back in time before the radiation blows you up and all that kind of stuff. But I do definitely agree that the voice actor was unfairly snubbed there, but it is what it is, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of annoying with the Game Awards, because it's the biggest one we've got. It's the only one we've got, and it's so problematic in a lot of ways. It's problematic and unfair, you know. So I don't really want to take it that seriously as an award show, personally, because of things like Jan Dolsky.
Well, because look, how many times have we come on here after the award show and have to say it's not really an award show, it's an advertisement show?
Yeah.
Because do you remember, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, where they basically gave off all the awards off screen?
Yeah, I hated that.
It's an advertisement event. It's not really about the awards. And I don't know if people finally fully, because I've been saying this for years. They wanted to make it seem like it's celebrating gaming or whatever, but it's clear that it's just there for Jeff to sell ad placements and hype up the new products. Because let's be honest with ourselves, if there wasn't any new game trailers and that sort of announcements, none of us would really watch it. we're not really interested in celebrating. I shouldn't say that, because I think people are interested in celebrating the best of games, whether it's put in their tweets or whether it's in they make their videos. But most people are not going to sit and watch a 3-hour Oscar-style thing to celebrate the best of gaming. They tune in strictly because they want to see the hype new trailer for, I don't know, the new God of War game, or like a Grand Theft Auto 6, or whatever else you could possibly think of, a new Fable, Soros. That's what they're there for. The awards are just a secondary thing. The awards are how they sell it to people, but it's really the trailers that they're there for. And if it was just the awards, I wouldn't watch. I straight up would tell people I wouldn't watch. I have no interest in that. So maybe I'm part of the problem, because I'm like, it's the awards show, but it's an advertisement show. But then again, I wouldn't watch it if it was an award show. I'm only seriously watching it for the trailers. That's it. And I think Jeff knows that, and I think he realizes that's what they want. So when people bitch about it, it's like, well, what do you want them to do? If it was just the awards and nothing else, what would the viewership be like? Because every single year the viewership keeps on going up and up and up and up and up, right? Hundreds of millions of people that watch it, whatever it is. What would it be like if it was just like the Oscars? How many of us, how many people in chat here, how many people on, gamers on, socials would even bother tuning in? Probably not very many. I mean, would you? I don't think you would. I wouldn't. My friends wouldn't.
I've never watched the Oscars, and I wouldn't. I wouldn't be interested. No.
But even with that said, there is the idea of being nominated in the thing of like having the role being voted on by critics and stuff. And that's one of the things I did see about, hey, you have in this performance thing, you have the Alters guy who did 12 voices, and you have like five people picked in the category, and 3 of them are for Expedition 33. Now, granted, I would argue all 3 of those people are incredibly important to the success of Expedition 33 and why it's so beloved. But then it's like, man, Alters really only works because of that guy, right? So shouldn't he also get some recognition? But that's one of the best things, the greatest things that Keighley ever did, really, is basically making it so that when people think of Game of the Year, they just think of him. Like he is the only award show in business, or the only award show that matters. I don't know how he pulled that off, but he pulled it off. Kudos to him for doing it.
What about the Rand Jez Game Awards?
Nobody cares about that. You don't even care about that. Neither do I. I have my own list of top 10 games and my favorites or whatever, and I'll tweet them out, and they'll be like, "Hey, that's cool. Rand's favorite game was Expedition 33," and I'm sure I'm not unique in that scenario. I'm sure there's plenty of other people that have that as their number one.
No, my number one is
Valheim.
Damn right.
But it's too bad it didn't come out this year, though. So negated. It's got to be a game from 2025.
It's in early access, so it came out every year. That's fine.
Well,
it's coming out.
What would be your favorite game that released in the year of 2025?
Oh man, honestly, like sometimes you just have to go with the first thing that comes to mind, and it was Chronos, man.
Yeah,
I absolutely loved Chronos. Like, and I know like there's some aspects of it you could describe as janky, a lot of aspects maybe, but I just loved how bleak it was, man. I love that bleak shit, man. Nobody does bleakness like Europeans, man. I think I just love Chronos, man. I think Chronos is probably,
man, they've definitely taken a step up, developer wise.
Yeah, I'm loving Silent Hill remake as well.
Yeah, Silent Hill 1 remake is. I would imagine Silent Hill 2 was the harder game to get right than Silent Hill 1. So.
You think?
I think so.
Yeah, maybe. There's a lot of yeah. I think you're right. Yeah.
And they've proven they could get Silent Hill 2 right, so I would imagine they'll do Silent Hill 1 right.
I think they will.
Which maybe we might see at the Game Awards, which would be great. Although I mean, seems to be a little early. I don't know. Just with how long games take to make these days, it's like, are we really going to have like a teaser trailer for Silent Hill that says 2027 on it or something?
I know, man. Bloober cooks, man.
They do cook. Let's see. We have Champagne Supernova. Or no, we have the Radberry Show. It says, "Hello, gents. Did you all see that Ninja Gaiden 4 DLC is set for early 2026? With everything Xbox has going on in 2026, do you think we could see the first trailer for the DLC at the Game Awards?" I mean, I suppose it's possible.
Yeah, I think that's a good show.
Maybe like Outer Worlds 2 DLC too, because I think they got 2 DLCs coming. Yeah, I mean, suppose it's a possibility. Well, I'm trying to think in my head of any like DLCs. Oh no, there have been. So yeah, it's definitely a possibility. That's a good reminder. Face 23 BKNY says no Sony executives talk bad about PlayStation. Why is that?
Is it true?
I mean, Shuhei Yoshida did say some bad. I wouldn't say he said bad things about PlayStation, but he did say there was some. He did say some bad things about like their games as a service pivot, and I mean that's not a positive thing. Maybe you're saying about the company, like nobody's really has a bad thing to say about Sony as a company, or PlayStation as a company, but he's definitely criticized some of the decisions they've made, and I don't know. I think it's just like Microsoft is just a gigantic conglomerate, like Google or Apple, where you have these creative people, and that always doesn't necessarily mesh with the corporate stylings of a Microsoft, and sometimes it just leaves people feeling a certain way about their time there, But I also think a lot of the Sony guys don't really talk that much, or they might keep their true opinions to themselves about things. Just because they don't say anything bad about it doesn't mean they don't have anything bad to say. It's just that they don't say anything. But there definitely has been recent things with Shuhei where he definitely disagreed with a lot of their decisions. And he may not talk bad about the company, but he's definitely talked bad about some of their decisions they've made.
Is there a potential for an NDA there as well? I mean,
maybe.
A lot of companies sort of end up with execs that have bad blood, but they don't really say anything. They sort of speak through veiled terms because sometimes there are NDAs in place. I'm not saying Sony has NDAs, but I'm just saying it's possible that.
I mean, Xbox. It does seem like Ybarra, Major Nelson. I'm trying to think of some other Xbox employees that haven't said most kind things about the company. So.
Yeah, I think and I'm speaking from experience as someone who works in a corporate entity. I think when you are working in a corporation, it's very easy to feel like you're a cog in a machine and just taken for granted. And I think like Microsoft has, thousands of employees. And when they do these big layoff routes, a lot of the time it is literally just a case of can we improve our margins by. They often seem to target they do seem to target senior employees sometimes who've had like a lot of raises over the years, which is why I'm often nervous to ask for a raise or even like or a promotion, because I do know that companies like when you're sort of being paid more, you're also like under pressure to deliver more, right? To deliver a return on that investment. So part of me is like, man, if I get this pay rise, I'm actually going to like be a cash flow positive entity for the company, So like those are the things I ask myself. And I do think like Microsoft, dehumanizes people, and other corporations dehumanize people when it's less about your contribution culturally and more about what's measurable in a spreadsheet. And I definitely think Major Nelson at least fell afoul of that, where it was like someone with this armed with a spreadsheet was just like, we can't put a dollar value on how much good Major Nelson is doing here. And I do genuinely think laying off Major Nelson was absolutely a complete and utter mistake. I think that was sort of like the beginning of Microsoft's apparent ambivalence towards the general community. And I think it started right there with Major Nelson being sort of sidelined. But
Hey,
what you gonna do?
So you're talking about the Game Awards and that, the statue that Jeff Keighley tweeted on November 28th that got a lot of engagement. It's 16 million views on Twitter. The Game Awards responded to Keighley with 3 sentences with words that are blanked out as to like continue to draw engagement. So it says, "The blank are silent, blank bleeds, new blank stir." What's he talking about? Fill in the blanks, Jez. What's he talking about?
Bro, I hate puzzles, man.
Yeah.
I hate thinking, bro.
The number one comment here underneath it is a post for Bloodborne 2 that says the howls are silent, the hunter bleeds, new nightmares stir with the picture of Bloodborne 2.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Yeah, could you?
Keighley would break the internet.
The second one is a Half-Life 3 thing. The half are silent, life bleeds, new 3 stir. with the picture of Gordon Freeman getting injected with the hope meme.
Man, there's a risk with all this hype. If it just ends up being a mobile game that some company just paid a shitload for.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's because one of the posts here,
it is. Jeff Keighley's all about the marketing stuff, right?
Yeah.
And if some big mobile game company just was like, Jeff, we want to do this to hype up our game and get loads of eyeballs on it, we'll give you $1 billion or whatever, and then it ends up being just thoroughly disappointing.
Yeah, that's the third post. The third post here goes, Jeff Keighley always up on stage like, "This is the biggest game I've ever had the privilege to reveal. This is going to blow your mind, and I'm terrified life will never be the same after it." And then the game looks like this, and it's like some kitty-looking thing. It's like, that's always the...
Well, the thing is, so some people's trash is another person's treasure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rand doesn't like World of Warcraft, but I'm pretty damn fond of the game, I have to admit. So, I won't begrudge anyone if it is a mobile game that doesn't resonate with the core or me and Rand. I won't begrudge anyone else who is excited for it. Maybe it's a Valheim DLC.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Now there is Valheim DLC coming next year, and I've been like, I put off playing Valheim for years because it's early access, and I don't like playing early access games generally because I want them to be finished, right? But Valheim's been in early access for a long time now, so it's got like tons and tons of content and polish and all that kind of stuff. You can buy dedicated servers for it, which I've done. By the way, if anyone on Xbox 2 Discord wants to hang out in our server, you're more than welcome to do so, as long as you don't steal anything. But I've come into the game now where it's just like there's just tons to do. Absolutely tons to do, and then there's another DLC coming soon, but the community at large is unhappy with, it seems like the Valheim community at large is unhappy with the pace of updates the game's getting. Like, it's quite slow to get updates and stuff, I suppose, as a smaller indie game, but I don't know. It does seem like Valheim will not be at the Game Awards. Timper21 says, just got leaked. The statue is for Raid Shadow Legends.
That'd be hilarious. That would be
Can
really
you imagine?
hilarious. Could you imagine? Oh my lord. Yeah. That would be
I kind of like
incredible. I want that to be true now.
I want it to be true, yeah. The drama, oh man, it'd be so tasty.
Hey, did you know There's something about Dragon Age that happened today. Dragon Age Day or something, or was it this week? And like,
Oh, really?
something about that, but nobody cared, and neither did BioWare or something. So
they didn't do anything for Dragon Age Week.
I guess I don't know. I saw something about that. How do you feel about knowing that Dragon Age is permanently dead franchise?
I'm fine with it, bro.
How was it knowing that you waited all those years for Dragon Age Veilguard and you ended up hating it and never finishing it?
I'm fine with it, bro.
You are because you weren't fine when you were playing it.
No, I'm over it.
You're over it.
I'm fine with it, bro.
Yeah.
I'm okay, bro.
You're okay.
The reason is, like, honestly, with Dragon Age, I was always chasing the feeling I got when I played Dragon Age Origins, and I never got that with Dragon Age 2. I didn't get it with Inquisition, and I didn't get it with the Veilguard. I was always.
You want to know a hidden truth?
I'll go on. I know what you're gonna say.
You weren't really chasing how you felt during Dragon Age Origins. You were chasing how you felt in your life at that time.
No, I wasn't.
That's what it was. That's what nostalgia is. You're not really nostalgic for the game. You're nostalgic for that point in your life that you want to recapture.
No.
Yes.
No, I was not nostalgic. I yes, genuinely. No. A lot of for Warcraft, yeah. There's a lot of games I am nostalgic for, but Dragon Age probably ain't one of them. There was just something. There was something about Dragon Age 1 that was just different from all the others. It was gritty and really dark. It felt like your choices really mattered, and you could like really vastly alter the outcome of the game in huge ways. None of the other games really delivered that in the same way. Dragon Age 2 was. Did you ever play Dragon Age 2?
No, I did not.
Did you play Origins?
I did. Played Origins, played all the DLC. I did not play 2. I did not play Dragon Age Inquisition. I did play Veilguard though.
Well, dude, like Dragon Age 2 was like so I can't even describe it. It was cartoony, man. It was cartoony. It didn't feel like Dragon Age.
People always said they kind of Mass Effected it.
Yeah, they did. They dirty dozened it, you know. And the thing is, I ended up actually accepting Dragon Age 2 for what it was. With the DLC, they did kind of try and bring it back around to what people might have more expected of Dragon Age. But nah, Dragon Age has just never really lived up to Origins. It's never got back to that level. And I don't know. Baldur's Gate 3 is what I wanted from Dragon Age, but even like Baldur's Gate 3 didn't get there for me.
You know, there's a game.
It was too happy. It was too happy.
There's a game that came out this week, and I know you played it, so I wanted to ask you about it.
Go on.
Routine finally came out.
Oh yeah, Routine. I did play Routine, a lot of it.
Is it a game I would like?
Yes, I think you would love Routine. So I'm supposed to be reviewing Routine, but Black Friday happened. I did put a lot of hours into it. And in fact, I did record gameplay footage of it, which I didn't upload to the OneDrive. So we could have had Routine footage playing here today.
Instead of your Killer Clowns gameplay footage.
I think that's Mars' Killer Clowns footage. But
either way.
Yeah. So Routine is a very interesting game. It's not really survival horror. It is that kind of, hesitate to call it coward simulator, but you are kind of running away a lot, not really engaging in combat at all. So on that level, I'm not a fan of those kind of games. I want to be able to kill shit. I don't know what it is. I can't help it. It's subjective as hell. And I know it's dumb and it's shallow, but that's just me, baby. Dumb and shallow. But having said that, the game is a technical fucking marvel, man. It is a technical marvel. It is like the most immersive first-person experience I've probably ever had in a game. And that's even though, like, I'm not a huge fan of the sort of I don't want to say simplistic gameplay, but it is kind of simplistic gameplay.
Okay.
It is a walking simulator for all intents and purposes. You solve some puzzles, you explore, and then there's the scares and atmosphere and stuff like that. But the atmosphere and the technical delivery of the game and the uniqueness of the setting is really, really special. It's got like this sort of, I don't know, this 80s kind of style, this 80s style impression of what science fiction was going to be like. Like, you know, like how in like Alien 1 or 2001 A Space Odyssey, where it's like they got some futurism right, but then other bits, like they couldn't imagine what digital would look like. So it's very analog sci-fi, right? Cassette tapes, CRT monitors, things like that, right? But it's just the sound design is so immersive, and even just stuff like when you're crawling through a vent or something, the way your spacesuit squeaks against the metal, it was so detailed. I was like, oh my god, this is like crazy. Definitely play with headphones. But also the story is really weird. So I'll just go over it briefly to not spoil people going in, but you're basically sent in to investigate technical issues in a moon base, you know. Uh, familiar kind of setting if, you know, you played games like Dead Space or whatever. But that's pretty much where it ends. You know, you wake up in and everything's abandoned. There's no one around, and the security robots that are just gone haywire, you know, and AI that's misaligned. But it's not really about the game. It's sort of, it kind of wants you to think, I think, that the game's about AI gone wrong, but it becomes apparent pretty quickly that's not what it's about. It's actually something pretty different and unique. So all I can say is like, check it out, man. It's if you like psychological horror, you like atmospheric games, and you like sort of you don't mind games where, you know, they're more about the puzzling and atmospheric effects, you know, walking simulators, but not in a derogatory way. Just mean like this is really about the experience and the atmosphere rather than running around shooting things. Although having said that, you do get a taser kind of gun which can put the robots to sleep. Didn't like doing that really. I just really don't like the horror games where you run away. I want to kill shit, man. And again, shallow. But if you don't mind that aspect of it, I think you'll have a lot of fun with it.
I might download that and check it out at some point. Is the game long?
It's not super long. It's just average. I'd say like 10 hours or something, maybe. Maybe not even that if you're quick. If you explore a lot, and because there's a lot of the approach to storytelling, again, is very sort of atmospheric and environmental. So it's similar to Prey, where you're looking at terminals a lot to get the story and reading emails. So if you spend a lot of time reading emails, that could pad out the amount of time you spend with the game. But if you ignore all that shit and rush through it, which you shouldn't do really, you should if you're approaching the game like, you know, rush through it, ignore the story, then you're probably not going to get a lot out of it, honestly. So yeah, maybe like if you're doing it thorough, probably looking at about 10 hours, maybe less, maybe 8 hours. But yeah, on a technical level, it's super impressive, man. Really impressive.
All right, we got. See here, we got. Champagne Supernova says, "Love Xbox Play Anywhere, but it irks me when my updated save is stuck on the ROG, locked away from my series until I turn both on." Jez, have you had this issue?
Say that again.
He says, "It irks me when my updated save is stuck on the ROG, locked away from my series until I turn both on." Have you had this issue? He wants to know.
Is your Xbox in standby mode? Because I suppose like if your Xbox isn't updating and stuff, that could happen. But I haven't had that happen on mine. No, I mean if my Xbox is in standby mode, so it uploads the saves passively. So I haven't encountered that issue myself. But if your Xbox is fully turning off, then yeah, you wouldn't get the save upload done properly. But yeah, that's one of the issues with the new save indicator. So the ROG Ally now is a save state indicator, which is really great and love it very much. But we don't have it on Xbox yet, so it's kind of annoying because I don't know if my save file is fully uploaded. I actually had that in Valheim because I've been playing Valheim on PC, on the Ally, and on my Xbox. I've been hardcore in Play Anywhere with this shit. But I had an issue this morning where it was like, do you want to sync the save on the cloud or do you want to sync the save on this device? So at some point, my Xbox didn't load my save up to the cloud for whatever reason. I wish there was just a manual button where you could press a button and then it would just all go up there. But I don't know. It is what it is, I guess.
We have
They'll iron out those bugs, hopefully.
DeAndrew says, speaking of trash, how about them Metroid Prime 4 graphics?
Ooh. Don't tell Don Taco that.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really seen much from Metroid Prime 4 outside of that one scene where the woman kind of soldier fawns over Samus. Almost seems like a scene right out of Halo Infinite with the guy, with the pilot.
Mm.
But I haven't really seen anything else. I mean, I did see the reviews were like, what, 80s? But I mean, that's a pretty severe drop off for the franchise, which is usually in the 90s. But
it does seem like it was hard development because they announced it ages ago and it took quite a long time to materialize, right?
yeah.
Maybe it's had developmental issues or something like that. I don't know.
Jez, I guess let's talk about. I saw this article from you, but it supposedly, at least, maybe it wasn't from you, but Xbox or Microsoft is making a deal with Foxconn for more consoles next year or something, like 4.8 million or whatever the number was. What's the deal with all that?
Reuters. Fucking Reuters, mate. Reuters or Reuters, whatever the fuck they're called. They reported it, so I was reporting their report. Got up at 4 a.m. to write that up because I thought
what's the skinny?
So what it is basically Microsoft's doing what Sony and Nintendo already did, which is move the hell out of China. So Microsoft, Sony and Nintendo were very quick to be like, okay, this tariff shit's not going away. We need to move as much of our manufacturing processes away from China to the next best thing. So the next best thing right now is Vietnam. Vietnam is becoming a manufacturing powerhouse. It shares a lot of the same expertise, and they've done a lot of like education to boost their chops in that space. I suppose they do still have tariffs, but they're not as hardcore as China's tariffs. And I think some aspects they're exempt from more things than China is. Some components maybe, or some device categories. So China has a more hardcore tariff than Vietnam. So a lot of electronics manufacturers are moving their production to Vietnam. So I don't think this is necessarily Microsoft massively boosting production. I don't think they're moving completely out of China though. So I think there will be. I think this is a strong indicator that they are sort of ramping up for the GTA opportunity, is my interpretation of it. But I also don't know. We don't know for sure if these are in addition to the China manufactured units, and they're just diversifying their pipeline to, improve the margins and things like that. Or maybe it's like, maybe it's more of a future facing thing. But these are they are 4 million devices, not necessarily consoles. So like a lot of it is potentially going to be controllers, headphones, other things like that, not necessarily consoles. So while I don't think it's going to solve Xbox stock issues anytime soon, because you can get Xbox stock just fine in America, but a lot of like other sort of markets like Middle East, for example, Europe, basically it's only the UK, Australia, Canada, and the United States where it's easy to get an Xbox. Everywhere else is kind of like the stock isn't there a lot of the time. So while I'm not sure if this is going to solve those issues necessarily, it does show that Microsoft's like still thinking about its hardware pipeline and not just being like, well, we'll just keep it in China, whatever, you know. So I think it's a good signal overall. But
I mean,
yeah,
we
I'm gonna
did
try and
sort of
get
wonder what it would be like with GTA 6 coming out next year. If
yeah,
they
I'm
would
gonna try and get
actually
an official statement
increase
out of Microsoft.
if they would actually increase console production, because you'd imagine that's going to move consoles, considering it's not on last generation. And we were just like, well, maybe they don't care, right? Like maybe they.
Yeah, I think this proves they care.
But I also wonder.
I don't think you bother. I don't think you bother moving your manufacturing out of China to access lower tariffs if you completely didn't care.
Yeah.
So I think like it's a pretty good signal, and also it's future. It's getting ready for next gen Xbox too, right?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, that's only good because I did see. I want to say someone sent me some posts where like Xbox was selling refurbished Xboxes like for more like a refurbished Series X is like $550 or something, which is like more than a new Series X came out a couple years ago. It's like, yeah, yikes! Who would have thought? Because normally, first mover, you buy the stuff knowing you're buying it. It's probably at its most expensive, and that also it probably would have its most problems. And then they refine the process, they slim it down, they cut costs, and then there's a better product that's cheaper years later. But that's part of the thing of being the first to get it. This generation, it's you are the first. I'm not necessarily got the best Xbox, but you definitely got the cheapest one because the Series X is what $650 now. They raised $100. Nobody saw that coming. And I don't know if we talked about it on Monday or we talked about it. Well, I guess we'll just reiterate here. What's the stuff going on with Micron, the RAM? So they're getting out of the consumer business and going strictly to like selling their stuff to AI. So like increasing the price of RAM, which could then affect the prices of these next consoles. And if you want to buy, like if you want to build your PC, you should probably build your PC right now. Because like, people are sending screenshots of these RAM costs that are just absurd, and it doesn't really seem like that's gonna.
I think it might even be too late for a lot of people to build it now. I mean, the prices are already getting nuts. It's some crucial. Micron basically shut down their consumer division, and they're gonna make exclusively business to business component selling, which kind of fucks the consumer market for RAM. So like I've got six, I don't know why, but I got 64 gigabytes of RAM in my laptop. No idea why. Probably don't need that much, but I bought it because it was fucking cheap. I just thought like, you know, I just thought, you know, it was cheap and I'll future proof it, you know, whatever. So I loaded my laptop up with a million gigabytes of RAM. But now it's not cheap anymore. It's expensive as hell. And it's because of companies like, you know, Microsoft, hilariously, buying up all the RAM for using in servers and stuff. There's like, it's almost like, it's a bit like a new nuclear arms race. All these companies are desperately pushing to be the first to mainstream AI, you know. And I think like Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, and Elon Musk, and some of these other tech bros that are sort of advocating for this, they've convinced basically everyone, the powers that be, that this is a matter of national security. And it could be true, you know. It could be genuinely true that it is a matter of national security. If these large language models and the tech and, you know, neural AI and all this stuff, if it actually does sort of evolve to a point where it can actually make a genuine difference to a country's GDP, as in make them more productive, make an entire country more productive, i.e. China, you know, and it degrades the competitiveness of the West and other countries, then you could consider it an issue of national security. But that's also a big fucking if, you know. But a lot of people seem to believe that it is an issue of national security, which is why there's so much money being thrown around. And you're getting people like Sam Altman saying, like, can we have, you know, government backing for these loans that we've acquired? Sam Altman is on the hook for $1.4 trillion of energy and compute commitments, bro.
That's a lot of money.
1.4 trillion over the next decade. And he's on the hook for that. And he has to deliver, even if they end up not needing that much compute. So he's like, and this is part of that whole Stargate thing, right? Where he's like, he's asked you, Rand, US taxpayers. Yeah, you. He's asked US taxpayers to be the collateral for that loan. So, you know, when people talk about it being a bubble, this is the kind of thing they're talking about, right?
Yeah, unbelievable.
But that's why the RAM's just going crazy. And, you know, we're talking about it in an Xbox context and a PlayStation context. And it's like, it's kind of like, oh shit, what about our video game devices, you know? It's way worse than that. It's like, what about hospital equipment? You know, shit like that. Like, loads of stuff has RAM in it these days. So that's like, we're kind of in a new Cold War right now.
All to fund AI.
Yeah, but AI might end up being really important. I don't know. It's just annoying. I don't like AI, bro.
I know.
But I feel like I'm yelling at cloud when I talk about it and bitch about it, because it's just happening. It's a thing now. You can't stop it, bro. Do you use AI, Rand?
No, I don't.
No. Are you old man yelling at cloud?
No, I don't have. I mean, I don't really have anything to ask AI about. I don't know. Well, I mean, should I be using it? What should I be using it for?
I have no idea, bro.
ChatGPT, asking him about stuff like recommendations for books.
I mean, maybe. Nah, you should be like, you could date AI, bro. You can date AI these days.
Yeah, because that's definitely what I'm looking for. Let's see. Jez, did you hear this rumor about PlayStation 6 and PlayStation allowing Steam on their next console?
Yeah. What's his name? Hip Hop Gamer, right? He said it, right?
Came from Hip Hop Gamer, yes.
Yeah, so he's
been in the industry a long time.
Yeah, he's a YouTuber. He's been around. I met him very, very briefly at the Summer Game Fest last time I went. I don't know what his track record's like, so you know, you can't comment on the likelihood of this rumor. But for my money, I personally can't see it. You know, but I've been very wrong before in the past about trying to predict what companies will and won't do, of course. What do you think, Rand? Like, I personally can't see it. Like, technologically, PlayStation would either need to run Windows or leverage Proton.
Right.
I can't see that happening in either scenario. Or they'd need to develop their own translation layer, which I also can't see. I think like the most value PlayStation and Xbox get out of their systems is when people use their own shit. Microsoft had no choice but to move outside their own shit because their own shit was not big enough.
I mean, even like
PlayStation doesn't have that issue.
When the rumors first started appearing about Microsoft and potentially allowing Steam on their next system, even like remember, it was circling back to the first time those rumors hit, we were all just kind of like, really? Because it's like, but does that make a lot? It doesn't really make that much sense. Like, why would you allow a competing storefront on your own device? And even though Microsoft hasn't confirmed it, like every single time they've talked about it, they even talk about the ROG as like an example of what we want to do with next generation, you know, with like the storefronts and stuff. So like, it's basically happening, but Microsoft has been signaling and moving in that direction for some time now. So it looks like, okay, that's how they want to move. And it's like, okay, they're having trouble selling their hardware. They're fully multi-platform. All these other things that could factor into those decisions about allowing, you know, a competitor's store on your device. And it's like, okay, we haven't even seen it play out. They haven't even announced it. We don't know if it would be successful in any way, shape, or form. We don't know how Steam being there would either help or hinder the Xbox storefront in and of itself. It's just kind of like, it hasn't happened yet, and we won't know really how any of that turns out for another couple years, right? Because I think me and you both don't expect the new console, the first-party console, to launch until 2027. So we're probably still quite a ways away from it actually being confirmed in any meaningful manner by someone at Xbox that Steam, you'll be able to use Steam and play your games on this device, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, like PlayStation fans, you know, they were very much like kind of making fun of the fact that Xbox was doing this or whatever, and it seemed like a lot of Xbox fans were looking at it as a positive thing. Of, oh, that's great. Like, I can buy this device, I can play all my Xbox games, and then I can play all these Steam games. Like, I'll have every game in existence because almost everything's on Steam anyways. So a lot of Xbox fans were looking at it as like, this is going to be a good thing for me because I'll be able to get this device, play all the Xbox games I own, continue to be subscribed to Game Pass, and if anything doesn't come to Xbox, I can just get it on Steam. I don't even need a PlayStation because PlayStation puts all their games on Steam, so I can just use that. I can just buy the games on Steam and play them on this Xbox PC console thing. Even though it might be expensive, it was like, hey, this seems like a good deal, something that I'm looking forward to, is what people would say. But then I saw Hip Hop Gamer say this, and I don't think the Hip Hop Gamer is the type of person to make stuff up. So I clearly think he was probably told this from somebody who knows or somebody he trusts. I'm not at the point where I am with Microsoft, where I look at the things Microsoft has done and the way they are moving, as I am with PlayStation, because I look at what PlayStation's doing and I look at like what the future holds for them. And I'm not at the point where I'm like, yeah, the next step and the next console that's coming out in a couple years is actually we're going to have a competing store on here. Like, they've done nothing to signal that in any way. In fact, you want to judge like what you talked about a couple weeks ago and what even Paris had talked about the idea of even scaling back on PC potentially, which I don't necessarily think is a thing that's going to happen, but all of a sudden you're like scaling back on PC, or like PlayStation is even doing day one ports of all their games yet, and yet I'm not there with that line of thinking of PlayStation opening up their storefront and being like, we're going to put Steam on here, because that's where PlayStation makes all their money, is on the third party stuff. And now I don't know, like, is PlayStation worried that by Microsoft doing what they're doing, that somehow that'll affect their business? Or are they worried about regulators? Because I remember when this all first started coming out, Jeff Grubb had a very interesting take on it by saying that Microsoft sort of is moving this way also because of the future, where they see this sort of thing, closed ecosystems and closed shops, as a target for regulator and regulation in the future, and that Microsoft might get the jump on it now and be like, hey, see, we're open, we're letting anybody have their own storefront on our devices. Does PlayStation feel similar, where they feel the tea leaves are moving in a direction where regulators are going to be like, hey, you need to open up your store, so they're going to be more proactive in that regard and allow that on their system. But like you said, well, they'd have to change their OS, they'd have to do a bunch of other things. I'm not there yet with PlayStation. I just don't see them. I don't see the moves they're making mirroring the moves that Microsoft are making, where Microsoft is clearly moving towards this like approach of allowing somebody else's store on there. I don't see the same thing from Play. Am I blind in that regard, Jez? I just don't see it.
No, I don't see it either. But it's a weird world, isn't it? It's kind of like one of them. It's like you can't see it because it doesn't really make a whole lot of logical sense on the face of it. But a lot of the things that Microsoft's been doing doesn't really make a lot of sense on the face of it. Like, I think for Microsoft, putting Steam on Xbox creates a level of differentiation that I feel like they need, or at least they feel like they need, right? So I think that their sort of thought process is, we've tried competing with PlayStation on its own terms. We really need to change it up here. This is kind of where I think Microsoft's approaching this shit from. It's not necessarily like we want to do this because we think it'll be awesome for us. I think they're doing it because they're like, we need to change it up if we're going to like truly maintain a business here. And also, like, there's also, you know, the existential threat that is SteamOS to some degree. So they're kind of killing two birds with one stone, in the sense that they offer some unique differentiation from PlayStation. They probably drop the paywall, because if it's Windows PC based, then there is not going to be a paywall by default. I drop the paywall for multiplayer for next gen systems, and then you also get, you know, the Windows ecosystem being sort of like having a foothold still. I mean, obviously it has a foothold. It's got like 95% of the market, but you know what I mean? It's just like they're sort of like, they're maintain, as Valve sort of encroaches in the living room, they're bringing Windows to the living room in a more aggressive way than they have done previously, right? Is my point. So, but pretty much none of those points make any sense for PlayStation. Like, they've already got the living room. So they don't have any worry from SteamOS. Doing this would only help SteamOS and help, you know, Steam eventually encroach even further. Because I do think like the Steam Deck is going to be not really aimed at existing console users. It's going to be it's going to be more expensive, I think, than people want to accept right now. And also less powerful, but the whole point of it is to give an upgrade path to the Steam Deck user. So if I'm a Steam Deck user and I just love the PC ecosystem, the instant mods of the Steam Workshop, all that kind of stuff, you've now got a much more powerful Steam Deck than the docked Steam Deck would have been previously, right? Also, it's cool as hell. It's so small. But obviously there's all the limitations of Linux, you know, well documented, but I don't need to go into that too much. But yeah, it's like I said, it just doesn't make a lot of sense for PlayStation to do it on the face of it. But if PlayStation did do it, that kind of nullifies any benefit Xbox could get from doing it.
Sure.
But people always tell me Xbox isn't a threat to PlayStation. So why would PlayStation do this? Doesn't PlayStation themselves even say they don't see Xbox as a competitor anymore?
They haven't. I don't know if they've publicly spoken about that recently.
All right, maybe I'm imagining.
Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. But
yeah,
I would imagine they probably don't view them in the same way they viewed them at the start of the generation, or and during the Xbox One. Especially with them putting all their games on their own on their platform.
Yeah,
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see how this plays out. I would say I just don't see it right now. And
That's
maybe if Sony started like moving and saying certain things and doing certain things that kind of hinted that way, I'd be like, oh well, look what they're kind of saying here. Look what they're sort of talking about. I mean,
it's a bit different with Xbox because they've all but admitted it.
yeah, they've
Sony
basically
has
all
not
but admitted
really-
it. So you
Yeah.
know it's coming. With PlayStation though, I mean, is there ever a time I could see Steam being on PlayStation? I mean, yeah, sure. Maybe in the future with the PS7 or something, because who knows what the industry even looks like in, say, I don't know, 2035, right? I just there's a part of me that's just like, I don't think so soon. But like you said, we've been wrong before. Yeah, companies have surprised us. And maybe they do feel that regulation's moving that way, and then who knows? Maybe Steam's on the Nintendo Switch 2 as well, or the Nintendo devices, and then it really is about the hardware you want to play it on. Is what hardware and what service, if everything was the same and it was just like
about the games.
But
yeah,
we'll see. You want to know what, Jez? Let's take some Patreon questions. I think we're gonna have an early show this week because we did a show on Monday, and I know you were yawning, so we'll try to get through it and have an earlier ending show today. So
yeah, I went to the hospital today, so I'm like early on, so I'm a bit out of it, admittedly.
So thank you guys for hanging out with us. Make sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Check out our sponsor for this episode, Surfshark. It's like 86% off a 2-year deal. It's like plus extra 3 months. Links in the description. Links pinned to the comments. Supports the show. And we got our wonderful Patreon members, which the question and answers we will get to right now. Patreon.com/XB2 if you want to join. Let's see. First one, Jez. We have CJ, who says, Happy Friday, gents. Just wanted to say how great it was to see Jez on my Spotify Wrap this week. Here's to another great year, gents. So yeah, the Spotify Wrap stuff came out, huh?
Yeah, Spotify Wrapped was a thing. I shot a little video for it at Jenny's house, Genbox 360. I was pretty drunk in the video, so I apologize for that. But I thought I got an email from him, so I thought, hey, why not? So yeah, thanks to everyone who shared their raps and stuff and the comments. It was really fun.
Everybody does rap now. Everybody. We got Sean Kramer says, Hey guys, with the news of the Xbox Bowl College football game, I'm wondering about the direction of Xbox marketing. Branding a bowl game isn't just about putting your name on a game. There's quite a bit of pageantry that comes with the brand sponsoring them. The last time Xbox veered into this lane, it was sponsoring the Seattle Sounders soccer jerseys. I remember that. Is Xbox
What did Xbox sponsor?
What do you mean?
Sorry, I don't understand football stuff. They sponsored a football team or what?
Yeah, they sponsored the Seattle Sounders, and they like Xbox logos on their soccer jerseys.
Yeah, but have they done it again? Someone else?
Well, no, I mean he says that they're sponsoring the college football game. They're naming the bowl, the Xbox Bowl, and he's saying he's wondering about the direction of Xbox marketing. Because branding a bowl game isn't just about putting your name on a game. There's quite a bit of pageantry that comes along with the brand sponsoring them. The last time Xbox... Pageantry, meaning like the frills and stuff. Like, I don't know, the pageantry of... I mean, here, let me look up the exact definition of pageantry. But it's like, yeah, elaborate display or ceremony. So, I mean, he's saying there's more to it, or he thinks there's more to it than just, oh, we want Xbox in the title. Like, they would have to do more, like Xbox branded, an Xbox branded field, or like an Xbox branded jerseys on the players, or, like there's more to it than just naming, like, the thing.
I get you.
At least in his mind. So he says, the last time Xbox veered into this lane, it was sponsoring Seattle Sounders soccer jerseys. if Xbox is getting back into, I'll say, alternative marketing beyond TV, beyond just TV spots and PR. I mean, I think they do some brand stuff overseas with some of the football clubs or whatever.
And they did the whole Xbox Crocs thing. So, I mean, it did kind of feel like for a while Xbox marketing sort of took a back seat. I wrote a whole article about how the ABK deal had them really distracted, and I think like they held back on going too hard on the marketing because I think they wanted to present themselves as weak to the regulators. I think to some degree. So I think there was some. Do you remember us talking about that back then? It felt like Xbox had gone a bit quiet to some degree because they were like, oh, look how pathetic we are, kind of thing to regulators when they're trying to get through the deal. But I suppose like we're well past that now, so we'll probably see some of this stuff ramp up again. But yeah, I mean, you know, when you take this as that's marketing spend that they've done there, and then also moving the production out of Vietnam, out of China to Vietnam, it's like they're just the things you can take as a positive signal that, you know, Xbox is still in the game, even though like last month when they raised prices at Xbox Game Pass, there was so many mainstream YouTubers with videos that were like, Xbox is dead, like literally Xbox is dead. So I guess we'll see if they can hang on while being dead.
We have Lee Sanders says, so with that Banjo fan-made game Dreams, it really highlights how terrible Microsoft is with fumbling IP as we have seen over the years. I get it, Rare likes to make new things, but surely after seeing the recent critical success such as Donkey Kong Bonanza, Astrobot, Mario Odyssey, you would think someone somewhere is thinking a new Banjo game on Switch, PlayStation Portal, and Xbox handheld is a smart idea to tap into all the markets. I guess another thought is to see how Toys for Bob does with the game they're working on.
Well, one thing about that Banjo project that, you know, you got to actually go and play it, you know, before you can really comment on it. It could be 30 minutes long. We don't know. I know it's a project in Dreams. I don't know anything about it myself. Maybe it is like a full-blown, legitimate kind of game, and, you know, it is like you say, that Xbox really fumbled the bag. But all I've seen of it so far is like a video that, you know, admittedly looks really, really good, but it's different from going from like a little sort of side project kind of game to actually like a full-blown product release, right? But I'm not defending Microsoft when it comes to, you know, nailing IP, because you know, you're completely right. They have the amount that has been fumbled over the years is astronomical, and it is frustrating. But at the same time, especially with regards to Banjo, a lot of the people that made those kind of games just they don't work there anymore. You know, the team isn't really set up anymore to deliver those kind of experiences, unfortunately. So, well,
here's what I've always said, Jez.
Okay? What have you always said?
I want my Banjo Bros to get their game. However,
yeah,
Xbox was never gonna make another Banjo game because the Xbox audience isn't interested in Banjo. I don't care what anybody says. The audience isn't there to make whatever the Banjo game to be a successful game. You can point to Donkey Kong, but I mean Donkey Kong is a historic character in the Nintendo franchise or Nintendo IP, and Nintendo players buy platformers and stuff. And Astrobot, even though it was great and won Game of the Year or whatever, it didn't really necessarily set the, you know, sales charts afire. Even, you know, and that's a game they gave away to free with everybody with a PlayStation 5. And then the sequel came out and expanded on it and did really well. The thing with Banjo is, like, if they made that game for the Xbox One or the Series X in that time frame, it'd fail because their audience isn't there. Now, however, with them being multi-platform now and presumably starting Switch 2 development in PlayStation, I think Banjo does make more sense. It makes a lot more sense. It makes a lot more viable sense. because I think I've even said what the best thing for Banjo would be is like a partnership between Nintendo and Microsoft, where you could sell Banjo on as an Xbox Game Pass game, but also on the Nintendo Switch too, because that's where I think the audience exists. So I think maybe Banjo's more likely now because of their multi-platform approach. Where I think if you tried it last generation or generation before, it's just a game that fails because the audience just isn't there for the game. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's a hill I would be willing to die on. So maybe there's a much better chance now with how Microsoft and Xbox's strategy is that you might actually see a Banjo. So maybe you all get your wishes. I mean, I know there was a Banjo game in development, and it probably was canceled. That's the thing. Like, Rare doesn't want anything to do with it. So, and the other studios they have internally, none of them really want anything to do with Banjo either. The one studio that we kind of thought might make one is Toys for Bob, but then they went independent, and they're still working with Microsoft on a game, and it's Spyro. So maybe after Spyro, it's like, okay, maybe you want to do Banjo. We've heard even Thomas Mahler of Moon Studios and of Ori fame talk about how he would like to do a Banjo game. You know, maybe after they're done with No Rest for the Wicked, maybe they work with Microsoft again on Banjo or something, or another Ori game. But
yeah, maybe
a part of me thinks that it's more likely now based on the fact that Microsoft can just sell the game everywhere. Where if it was just on one platform on Xbox, I think it would just bomb. I don't think anybody would buy it, let alone play it. So
yeah, I mean there was that sort of Banjo-y kind of game from Yooka-Laylee, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that didn't do fantastically well either, you know.
We have Shay Elephant. He says, "Hey, Jez and Rand, longtime listener since 2022 and first-time paid member."
Hey, Shay, thanks so much for supporting us, man.
Thank you so much. He goes on to say, "Thank you so much for doing all your podcasts and get me through many work and gym sessions. My question: many people are concerned about how the next-gen Xbox makes money when they open up their storefront. What if Xbox does something like a mobile phone? Your phone is locked in with a specific service provider unless you pay a fee to unlock it. Can the next-gen Xbox be launched with the locked storefront? Only allow to use Xbox Microsoft Battle.net, but people can then pay an extra $200 to unlock the machine to use Steam and Epic? By doing so, Xbox will be making a profit on the hardware even if people only use Steam on it. Sorry for the long question, and thank you." You know, I think we brought that up before, or it was something I was thinking of. I think I might have even brought this up to you, where I was like, what if you could buy the device, but if you wanted to use Steam on the next Xbox console, you had to be subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, how would they land that kind of stuff? And it is an interesting thought experiment, but part of me is just like,
that wouldn't work, I don't think.
I just think they'd get cooked if they tried to do that.
I mean, maybe they would, or even a one-time payment of, hey, if you want to access this, you got to pay $200 or whatever. Yeah, I thought that. I was just like, well, what if they just said, hey, you want to use the Steam or you want to access the Windows mode on this device? You have to be a current Game Pass Ultimate sub, and then once you unsubscribe, then you lose access to it, and then you can't play your Steam games on a device, but you can still play them on PC. But I don't think that's really possible. I think it's just going to be you'll be able to download games from any store you want, and there are not going to be any financial.
Yeah, I don't think they'll restrict anything.
Yeah.
I can see why it makes sense on the face of it, but I think they would get so much hate, and I think Microsoft's probably like, it's not even worth. Even if they entertain the thought, they're probably like, it's not even worth the aggro. Maybe, but I don't know. Maybe it could be wrong. Maybe that is the play, and we'll find out together. very soon.
Okay, let's see. We have another one here from. Oop. We got one here from Chris M. Hello, gentlemen. I hope you both enjoyed a shorter week between pods this week. Jez, last week you kind of joked about a World of Warcraft TV show. So for fun, if that show were to be made, and let's say it's animated, as a live-action Warcraft is far more challenging to do well, what would be your dream production for the show? Rand may need to help here. I don't know. The dream production for that show would be to be canceled immediately.
Such an asshole. Dream production? What? Well,
here we go. He goes on to say, which platform would you prefer to do it? Netflix, HBO, Amazon? And which production studio would be the dream, such as Fortici, who made Arcane, Titmouse, who's made Vox Machina, Mighty Nein, or you could go with anime studios such as Trigger, who made Cyberpunk Edgerunners, or even UFO Table, who's doing the Demon Slayer and Genshin Impact show, apparently. What's Jez's dream collaboration to make the truly great World of Warcraft TV show that lives up to the lore of the game? Hope you guys have a great weekend and get to enjoy the holiday season. I'm sure next week is going to be absolutely wild.
Yeah, next week's going to be fun.
So there you go, Jez. Would you want a World of Warcraft anime made by Studio Trigger, who made Cyberpunk Edgerunners? I'd be down for that. They were pretty cool.
Nah. I don't. Nah. And it might be cool as a side thing, but let's just go nuclear. I think Peter Jackson should make it, and it should have the same budget as Lord of the Rings and be a trilogy.
So we're talking movie. We're not going to go HBO, Netflix, or Amazon. So just a movie, TV show.
It's got to be an epic trilogy movie telling the story of Warcraft 1 and maybe 2, which is kind of what the other movie tried to do. But honestly, the movie that we did get, I thought was pretty good.
So are we doing live action or are we doing animated?
No, we're doing live action, bro.
A live action again?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Or if we're not doing live action, the problem is, right, I think World of Warcraft's would be tough to do animated because I think only adults play it, but it's not a particularly adult kind of game. So if you make it like an American Western kind of cartoon, you kind of end up with a situation where it's like a Saturday morning cartoon. I don't know. I honestly think it only works as live action, like with the CGI they had for the movie. Like I thought the presentation of the Warcraft movie I thought was fantastic. The CGI they had there was really good. Gul'dan looked amazing, and it had some really great scenes. It was just edited badly, I think. So I think you need someone who can sort of translate the lore at least somewhat accurately, which I think they did do pretty well, but also make it appeal to the general audience, which they did very badly. So can Peter Jackson do that? He turned a book, which nobody likes reading books, old ass book, into probably the most epic, renowned trilogy in history. Is that a stretch to say, right? So Peter Jackson, man, that's what I'm gonna go with.
Well, that's a good one. I enjoy that response. Silas says, "Greetings, mates. Has there been a time in your lives where you seriously considered quitting video games?" No, not yet. There have been times where I've been burned out playing video games. There have been times where I didn't want to play anything, and I didn't play anything for a couple months. And it always it always seems to happen at least once a year where I don't want to play anything. But I've never given it any sort of thought of well, I'm done. It's just I'm sort of burnt out, and I'll just come back when there's something I want to play. So no, there's never been in my mind a thought of I'm done, I'm officially quit. Like I did books where I didn't read a book. I literally quit books, quit reading for almost 20 years, from like 2004 to 2021, where that was like a conscious choice, where I sold all my entire library and then literally just was like, I'm done doing this. That haven't had that with games yet, and I don't. Maybe as I get older, maybe in 10 years, like once the games, I see some games, that I'm not interested in. Like I look at the upcoming stuff. Like I'm super excited for Resident Evil 9 Requiem, and I'm really looking forward to. And I say this as like, I'm not the biggest Gears guy, but I'm actually quite looking forward to Gears E-Day. And I'm looking forward to James Bond, First Light. I'm looking forward to playing Replaced. So I mean, I already can tell. Like I can't wait to play Grand Theft Auto 6 and Wolverine. So the passion's still very much there of wanting to keep playing it. Maybe it comes a year where we look at this and then just look at these games and I'm just like, I don't care anymore. I'm done. But it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've never even once thought video games is something I will quit. I don't think I'll quit it as I get older. I think this is something I'll do for life. That being said, my tastes have changed pretty dramatically over the last few years. Like I barely even look at AAA anymore. There are like certain like studios where I just have no interest. I look at indie games more than ever. A lot of games, genres that I've never really touched before. A lot of I don't know what you call them, retro kind of games, low poly kind of games. I've been going for handheld kind of games, but maybe I'll get bored of the handheld, and then maybe I'll suddenly get an urge to dive back into some AAA goodness at some point as well. But nope, I don't quit. I'll be here to the bitter end, man. When AI slop just destroys it all. I suppose that's what could happen. Is all games become like this homogenized the slopification. If everything became like Roblox, then yeah, I'd quit definitely. But I don't think we're quite there yet.
All right. We got Goggles Lens. Who says, hi guys. For me,
yeah, he said his name.
I know. I had to think about it. I'm like, I wanted to say Google's Lens so bad, and I was like, no. It's Goggles Lens. So hey guys.
There's a product called Google Lens.
For me, Quick Resume is a must-have feature now. Now, I don't know the specifics of how it works. You think it would be a per-game thing, but I've had games that are original Xbox games that work with Quick Resume, but some games don't. So it might be a per-game thing or a system thing. Maybe Jez could explain it better. I feel like most games do work with it, to the point, if I have a game that doesn't, then it feels like, oh man, I have to wait through all these logos just to play. I feel like it would get me to play more games too if I could just jump between them and not have to take the time to start with the game. The only games it messes up are multiplayer games, which it does mess with. In the future, hopefully we can pick and choose what games we can make work with Quick Resume. It is to the point where it needs to be on the next console. I can't go back to the way it was before. Is there anything like that with the new console where it must have this certain feature that you are attached to now, like I am with Quick Resume?
I play a lot. I often turn my console off on off standby mode and shut it down fully. And I often shut the games down fully because I often end up in situations, like you said, where Quick Resume just doesn't seem to be that reliable, doesn't seem to work that well. So I often just like get frustrated with Quick Resume and just don't use it. So for me, like, I'm just speaking for myself, I don't care too much about Quick Resume. But is there a feature that I absolutely need? Xbox Play Anywhere? Although that's just got to become incidental if more games just become PC first. I've been using Xbox Play Anywhere like non-stop. Like in Black Friday, the Black Friday Xbox deals, I must have spent like $200 just on games that were Play Anywhere that looked like they would run well on the Ally. Cloud saves as well. Cloud saves partially because of Xbox Play Anywhere, but cloud saves is something I take really for granted now. I remember when I I was surprised to learn that PlayStation doesn't offer cloud saves for free. So like, if you are someone who's using PlayStation as a sort of companion console, not as your main console, that's kind of because you wouldn't want to subscribe. Like if I'm using my Xbox as a just for Xbox exclusives, not that there are any, but just imagine like my Xbox was like a companion kind of console. It wasn't my main console. If I was like using it as a companion console, I wouldn't want to subscribe to it, you know? So you can have an Xbox and have the cloud saves for free while not being subscribed to Game Pass. So yeah, cloud saves would be one. Xbox Play Anywhere would be another. That's for me. I don't know about you, Rand.
I mean, I don't use quick resume.
Would you live with?
I mean, I could live with it not being there. It's perfectly fine. I don't use it. I only play one game at a time, so. And even right now, like I play an Ark. Our multiplayer game doesn't even work in quick resume. And also, I got burned by quick resume a couple times, so I just stopped using it in general because there were times where this is more towards the launch of the system where if you had a game in quick resume, it would break achievements. Achievements were important to me, so I just when that happened the first time, I just never used it again. So I definitely could, go without it. And do I need anything from this generation in the next? I mean, not anything that was specifically brought for this generation. Like, no, I there's nothing I would be like, oh, from this gen, I need it to move over. But I understand why a lot of people would pick quick resume. It just wouldn't be something I would pick. I guess maybe back compat or forwards compatibility needs to be a thing. Probably a bigger thing than quick resume, but that's just for me. We got Panda Man who says, "Hey guys, I realized I should probably write longer questions. Nah, Packers versus Bears this week. Fuck the Packers. Jez, what team do you hate in the UK? I assume your family liked the soccer football team in the UK. Have a good weekend." And I got Rand to say fuck the Packers. You got me to say it twice.
No, it's weird, right? Because I'm not really into sports or football or anything like that. I never have been, which I know is weird in the UK. Like, if you don't have a team in the UK, like, you're weird. Like, even like nerdy people usually have a team. I don't have a team. I just can't pretend to care about it, right? My stepdad, however, really loves football, soccer, but he doesn't have a team either. He watches football all the time, but he just watches it like for the sport and what like analytically almost, So yeah, there isn't a team. I don't think there is a team that my family hates. But because I'm from Warsaw, there's kind of like you're meant to hate Wolverhampton Wanderers by default, or like West Bromwich Albion, maybe. Kind of like the rival teams, right? But otherwise, no, I'm pretty sports agnostic. A lot of wrestlers I don't like though. Raw was really good this week, by the way.
Don't care.
Damn.
Don't care. We got James Wiseau says, Yo, I've not posted a question in a while, so here's a double whammy. Do either of you know if Xbox will have a presence at the Game Awards? If so, what do we see? A first look at Blade? A release date for OD? I imagine Fable, Gears, Halo, Forza will be at the Dev Direct, so trying to think outside of this. I mean, Jez mentioned that he knows Diablo's there, so there's Diablo. And somebody else in chat mentioned Ninja Gaiden DLC as a potential, which certainly possible. I
haven't.
But I haven't heard anything specific like Jez. I don't know. We'll find out next week.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. We don't really know. We're both pretty in the dark. Haven't heard many rumors on the Xbox side, but I think we'll all be finding out together.
I haven't been trying to find out anyways, so.
Yeah, me neither.
And what game have you put? Blind. What, Jez?
Going in blind, except for Diablo.
He also wants to know what game we put the most hours into this year. I was looking back on it, and wow, such a great year. I played so many games, mostly to completion, a feeling Jez can't comprehend. I think my highest hour count personally would either be Expedition 33 or Yotide, around 55 hours each. Man, even the comments are giving Jez crap for finishing. Mine's right now Arc Raiders. I have 120 hours in it. It's easily my most. I think not Persona, Metaphor, Refantasio. I think I played in January. I think I have like 90 hours, 100 hours in that, but Arc Raiders is number one for me. What's your most played game this year, Jez?
Oh, it's a really good question. I mean, not counting World of Warcraft, which is obviously the actual answer. I'd have to look at my history. I mean, there was one game that I put like over 100 hours
What about
into.
that Warhammer game?
Warhammer game? Oh yeah, it'll be that. 7 days played in what's it called? Rogue Trader. Yeah, it was Rogue Trader. Yeah, it was Rogue Trader.
There you go. Warhammer Rogue Trader for Jez. And good old Conwood says, "Hello, Rand and Jez. Jez, is it the heights of hypocrisy or the heights of Schadenfreude that PC Gamer's PC Gaming Show, Most Wanted Show, is sponsored by Xbox Game Pass?"
I'm contractually obligated not to comment on this. You might or might not know, but PC Gamer is actually part of my company, Future. So, yeah, it's kind of funny though. Like the way like Future's structured, sales is completely separate from editorial, and that's really important. You don't want sales and editorial to be intertwined because you do get things like, oh, we can't say anything bad about Microsoft because they're sponsoring our Game Awards show. So like the writers at PC Gamer, they write whatever they want. And the sales team at PC Gamer, they get sponsorships with whoever they can, you know. So that's why that happens, you know, is because the separation of church and state, or in this case, the journalists and the sales team, you know. But for Microsoft, it would have been like, well, this is an opportunity to get Game Pass in front of, you know, loads of PC gamers.
And not a single one of them will care. Good spend of money on it.
I don't know. They do constantly say PC Game Pass is a huge growth area for them. Sure. And I do increasingly see people talk about it as if it's just like sort of a matter of fact kind of way.
But I also think the people who watch PC Gamers thing are the people who are already aware of Game Pass and its existence.
Yeah, maybe. But also they probably didn't pay a huge amount for it, right?
Yeah, probably not. We got Pat Rock who says, I have Routine downloaded on my Series X and my Ally. Which should I fire it up on? Or should I just not bother? P.S. I beat Winter Burrow on my Ally, and that is a perfect game to play on the couch while it's freezing cold outside.
Oh, yeah, Winter Burrow's really cool.
Routine on the Xbox?
I haven't tried Routine on the Ally, but honestly, I can't imagine it runs well. It's a really intensive game. It doesn't even run that well on the Series X. Although I was playing a review build, but it was kind of like, do you choose between crazy immersion, 30 frames ish, or do you turn down the graphics a lot and compromise that to get higher frame rates? But I don't know, maybe because sometimes you can't tell. Sometimes games run disproportionately well on the Ally because there's like proper drivers for them, and I mean the drivers are optimized and all that kind of stuff. But then you'll get games that should run well on the Ally that don't, just because they're not compatible properly with the APU and all that kind of shit. So I guess the answer is try it. Try and see. It might run great. It might run like trash. The only way to find out is to give it a try.
All right, let's see. Any more? Making sure everybody got their questions read. Okay, got there. All right. we are all good. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the second podcast this week. We will be back Friday next week to talk about the Game Awards and all the crazy stuff that was shown off. Those are always fun episodes. We should be having like an Xbox 2 Ultimate up here soon, and hopefully an Xbox 2+1 as well. So enjoy your weekend, and keep it gaming, and we'll see you next week, right, Jez?
Hell yeah, rock and roll, baby.
Later.